Hello and welcome to the Isle of Man International Chess Tournament. It's round 5. We are your hosts, Fiona Steil-Antoni, and with me, Grandmaster Simon Williams. How are you today, Simon?
I'm very good, Fiona. How are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm very well. I had a good night's sleep and I'm looking forward to today's round 5. We're halfway through the tournament. Time is flying.
We are, yeah. I mean, it's getting to sort of a critical stage. I mean, when you speak to a lot of the top players, they actually say, generally, the first 5 rounds don't matter so much. Now, I'd like someone to tell that to Wang Ho, who's on 1.5 out of 4 at the moment. Yeah. But generally, the last half of the tournament is the money end, and that's where the money's going to be made, and you get these big clashes. So it's getting very exciting now, Fiona. So yeah.
So shall we start by having a look at the standings after round 4?
Let's do that. So we have one player in the lead, Fiona.
And that is the fantastic Alexei Shirov. He did grind out a win eventually last night against Vidit.
He did indeed, yeah. And Shirov played this ending. It looked like he may win this ending, but he's a great player, old Shirov. And he's what people forget, as well as being known as this tactician, he's also an excellent endgame player. And people are just going to remember that. Most top players can play every type of position. So then in 2nd to 6th place, Fiona, we have these 5 players.
Yeah, 5 players on 3.5. That's Wesley So, Pavel Ilyanov, who won your first pound yesterday. Yay. As he managed to overcome Elizabeth Pace.
Well, I say yay. I actually wanted Elizabeth to hold it in a way, but yeah, of course.
And then Maxim Murstein, who beat David Howell, Arkady Naidic, who beat Abhijit Gupta, and Movsesian beat, I can't remember.
Beat someone.
Someone.
Yeah, so.
And then behind them we have a big pack of players on 3 out of 4, including top seed Fabiano Caruana and 3rd seed Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, I mean, there's some massive names there, of course. You've got Caruana, Nakamura, Mickey Adams, my pick, Lecco. I mean, you could go on and on. I mean, a couple of surprises there. I suppose you could say people like Max Illingworth from Australia. Great player, actually. Great theoretician.
I think actually the 4 players in the last rounds are all IMs, unless I'm mistaken.
I think so as well. So you have got those IMs in there. And again, you've got an incredibly strong group just behind that as well in equal 26th to 58th place. Now, one thing we should probably discuss
before we go to the pairings.
Is, well, you might be wondering, I'm looking forward to Shirov today. I want to see some fire on the board. And we've got quite an unbelievable story to recall to you guys, which we were just in hysterics about, actually, I have to admit.
We agreed you would tell the story because I wouldn't get all the way through it without bursting out in a giggling fit.
That's right. So apparently, Fiona, just before we started, went and spoke to an arbiter to find out why Shirov, and Shirov is not playing today.
He's taking half a point by, which is possible here.
You can take a half point by up to round 8.
And we saw 2 Grandmasters do it in the previous rounds, Arkady Naidic and Wang Hao.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit strange for the leader.
Exactly.
The leader, clear leader, to take a bye. So we were a bit worried. We thought maybe he's ill, maybe he's eaten some bad kipper over here. Kipper's a speciality, and he might be a bit sick and needs a day recover. So then we found out this is apparently the reason why he's taken a bye. Apparently he's extremely superstitious, and he went to a restaurant on the first night in Douglas, which is the capital of the Isle of Man, and he won his game. And his superstition is he has to eat at the same restaurant if he wins the game. He has to go back to the same restaurant. So he's been back to that restaurant now 4 times, and he wanted to change the restaurant. So apparently he was explaining to the arbiter after his win yesterday, and he took the bye after the game, that he was getting a little bit sick of this restaurant. He wanted to go to another restaurant, so he needed to have a bye so he could eat somewhere else. It sounds like fantasy to me. I mean, what is that bonkers? That is.
So I was told this story by arbiter Anna Sobernic from Slovenia, and when she told me, I looked at her because we are quite good friends, and I told her, Are you joking? And she said, no, I'm serious. So
maybe she's having a laugh. I don't know. I mean, she might just be.
Maybe she's looking at us now
and just laughing and just saying, "What fools! They believe my story." I mean, I heard a story from.
We actually have Matthew Carr in the room, who I think just wanted to say something.
Is this true, Matthew?
Well, that's the story that, as far as I'm aware, but whatever he's up to, it must work as he's on top of the tournament.
What restaurant does he go to? That's what we should find out. More importantly, we want to find this restaurant and get our friends down there tonight, because it's certainly a very good restaurant. So we have to find this information out. He probably wants to keep it to himself. So I've no idea where he's eating tonight. He might have just gone for a KFC for a change or something. Last night, of course.
Tonight he will be. So tonight we should try and find him. You mean?
Yes, I think so. Find out.
Just go through all the restaurants.
I mean,
if he carries on his superstition, then yes, he should be eating at the same.
Well, I have absolutely no doubt he will be at that restaurant tonight.
I mean, it's crazy though. So we're going to have to try to find where he is, and he's probably going to have to eat in the same restaurant every night. I mean, it's really weird in the chess world. I mean, some people have really weird superstitions. Pens, they throw away a pen if they lose, and Gary Kasparov's lucky number was 13 actually, and it's odd, but that is, I have to admit, one
taking it a step further.
It is. So really weird. I mean, what an excuse to not play in the middle of the tournament, and he was due black. So I think why not? I mean, it's probably good to have a little rest anyway. He can get a 4-pack of beer, go to the balcony and watch the games if he wants to.
He can join us in here, do some guest commentating.
That'd be lovely. And we try to get the restaurant information out of him then as well. So anyway, that's why he's not playing.
Shall we have a look at the pairings? And that was the story behind why Alexei Shirov won't be on top board today.
I'm really not sure I believe that. But anyway, that's what we've heard. Okay.
So on top board we have a second seed Wesley So, who's playing against Maxim Rothstein. Then on board 2 Pavel Ilyanov is facing Arkady Naidic. On board 3 top seed Fabiano Caruana will be taking on Movsesian with the white pieces. Then behind that we have this huge group of players on 3 points. Is there any game in particular you're looking forward to there?
Well, a lot of the games, I mean, Grandilius we can see there, who's had really a very tough pairing, maybe the toughest pairing out of everyone so far, because he played, of course, Fabiano Caruana and then Hikaru, and today he's got Mickey. So he's basically played 3 of the top 5 players in the tournament, and that's going to be very exciting. He's got the white pieces.
Top 4, isn't Mickey 4th seed?
Top 4, yeah.
So he's just missing Wesley.
That's right.
To complete the big 4.
The big 4, and he's got white, so I'm looking forward to that. Van Forest, this young, the current Dutch champion, only 18 years old, playing against Leko.
And then we have an Indian clash between Vidit and Lalit.
And there's just so many juicy pairings. I mean, even Ho Yifang, it's always nice to keep an eye on her. I just before we do go on, I mean, I'd like to say, I spoke to Lawrence Trent yesterday, who actually, played against Peter Liko, and with the black pieces in a dragon opening. And Peter played this Queen E1 move, if anyone can recall that game. It's really worth looking at. They analysed the game afterwards, and according to Lawrence, so you have to always take it with a little pinch of salt, Peter Liko has refuted the dragon. He's refuted the dragon. This opening that's been around for hundreds, if not thousands, hundreds of years, Peter Liko is single-handedly refuted, and he showed that. He showed his work to Lawrence yesterday. And apparently there's Queen E1 move, so if you want to know how to beat the dragon, look at that game from yesterday. So I don't know, do you believe Lawrence for that one? That's apparently according to Lawrence.
I'm struggling. We should call up Gawain, who, as we mentioned yesterday, has written a very excellent 2-volume book on the dragon, so see what he thinks about it.
Apparently Peter has his book, and he was going through the variations in his book, and he was showing them to Lawrence and saying, this is wrong because of this is wrong because of this. So I don't know how true that is, because this is a brilliant book, and I think it's going to be hard to refute, but we will maybe. It's interesting.
Maybe today we'll just tell the people out there lots of stories, and they have to tell what's right, what's wrong.
Oh, that'd be quite funny.
Should we guess?
We have to guess the truth or not. That's a brilliant idea. So it's like, is it April 1st? Let's imagine it's April the 1st. We're going to tell some little fibs, and you guys have to guess what we're fibbing about or not. So apparently Magnus Carlsen is sailing on his boat today. Okay, anyway, should we maybe go over to some of the games, shall we? Yeah. Okay.
And it's worth mentioning, of course, Peter Leko, who we were just talking about, who apparently may or may have not refuted the dragon. He was just half a point away from the World Championship title.
He was, yes, indeed. And he's an incredibly strong player, isn't he, Peter? So
some very deep opening. He's always, I think, been known.
Yeah, for his opening preparation. And he's a great player. So maybe he has refuted the dragon. So sad day for Dragoneers.
We shall see in the future.
That's right, that's right. Okay.
So let's go to the top clash of the day, and that is Wesley. So against Maxim Rothstein.
Okay, and Maxim, of course, beat the English player David Howe yesterday, which was, a bit upsetting for us because we're David fans. We're a bit biased, we're allowed to be because we're his friend, aren't we? He's a good friend. I mean, we're not saying Maxim is a nasty person, of course he is, but we like David. And Wesley So defeated the very talented player Zulo Granda yesterday, and Zulo.
Who's that? Zulo.
Okay, anyway, from Peru. Okay, so right, D4, D5. So we have a Queen's Indian and now a Slav variation, and Knight to F3, Knight to F6, and now a safer option here than Knight to C3, which is also the other main option. Pawn to E3. I say it's safer because you can just capture your pawn back on C4, and you kind of...
and there is Julio, who you're just talking about in the background.
Julio, yeah, and you can just capture that pawn back. So it's a safe way to play. Now, Bishop G4 is meant to be one of the main options. Magnus Carlsen himself has played this because Black wants to play the move E6, but when he does play E6, the bishop has escaped its cage. I mean, if you can play E6 here, but then your bishop is trapped on this rather passive square for the rest of the game. And actually, Hikaru Nakamura had this position as white against the young Jordan van Forest earlier on. But Bishop G4 is, I think, a better, well, I'd say a more typical move. H3, so Black does give up the bishops. He can also go Bishop H5 there, but he's going for a very solid setup with E6. So he's got rid of his bad bishop, he's got a strong centre. White develops, Knight C3. At top level, it's surprising actually that basically at top level the grandmasters really love bishops. I'm probably one of the only players in the world who likes knights. Yeah, it's because I'm a tricky little guy, you know, and I love throwing my knights around the board and trying to cheapo someone with a nasty little fork. The only other famous player I can think at the top of my head who preferred knights was a guy called Shigoring, who had an opening named after him, and if you know that opening, you can see why he preferred knights. In blitz chess, knights are meant to be better, aren't they? So, anyway,
and in Bughouse.
And in Bughouse, yes, indeed, yeah. We were nearly the dream team in Bughouse once, weren't we? We played in the Bughouse competition. Knight BD7. A3.
And it's worth mentioning, maybe, seeing as this is the chess.com sponsored tournament, that you can now play Bughouse on chess.com.
It certainly
which
is.
we should try on our next stream.
Oh, definitely. That'd be so much fun, definitely. I mean, I did this the other day on chess.com with my friend Simon Ansell. You can check out my YouTube channel if you want to see that video, and it's so much fun. And you can get a game very quickly on there. You just search, or you can play with a predisposed partner. So we would be the dream team. We would be like, you know, at least 3,500 rating world champion Bughouse players, because we think alike.
You know, there is a very good Bughouse player in this tournament.
Okay, who's that?
That's our good friend Niels Grandelius. He was actually,
right,
I think, I'm not sure if this was an official world championship, but he was a Bughouse, I think, world champion for a few years in a row. And I think...
How'd you become Bughouse world champion?
I think this was a tournament held, but a few years back, not in the recent past. But and the other top player who's very good at Bughouse is Levon Aronian. So I think apparently Levon and Niels are very good.
We could take him easily. We'd take him down. Don't scare me. Do they scare you?
Maybe a tiny bit.
Well, anyway, we should do that another time, definitely. And now here, after A3, Maxime has played G6. So deciding, that's a non-standard move, I have to say. He's deciding to put the bishop on G7. And I say non-standard because normally in this position, Black just puts the bishop on E7 and then just plays like this. I think now that White's gone A3, this G6 move is a possibility. For example, if White had gone bishop E2, G6 may be a mistake, may not, I don't know. Probably not, actually. I was thinking you could go b3 here, bishop g7, bishop a3 to try to stop black from castling. But even here, queen a5 is a very good answer there. So, okay, so that's interesting. So, little sort of new idea I haven't seen, g6. And we're going to find out if the bishop is better on g7 or somewhere else here. So, going to be interesting. But very solid opening choice from Maxime. And he clearly is just playing without any risk with the black pieces. Yeah. And so is Wesley So.
So let's move on to board 2, where Pavel Ilyanov is playing against Arkady Neidich.
And, well, Ilyanov had a very good Olympiad with board 1 for Ukraine. Arkady didn't have such a great Olympiad, and Arkady did have a bye yesterday, so he should be...
No, the day before yesterday.
Oh, it was the day before yesterday, okay. And he should be well rested. So, definitely.
He actually played this interesting game yesterday against Gupta, where he played knight d5, offering to get doubled isolated pawns.
Yes, he did, yeah, and he won that one. He played some nice little manoeuvres there, didn't he? And again, we see Ilyanov playing e4 for the second time in this tournament, and this is not normally his main move, pawn to e4. He normally plays pawn to d4, but I mean, of course, you'll find that all of these top players understand a great deal about most opening setups. So, okay, Arkady has gone for the French defence, and
doesn't Pavel play the French defence himself?
He does sometimes.
Didn't he even play it here? Am I making that up?
Probably played it here, maybe. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but it's very possible. And I mean, I know this is not Arkady's main opening, so maybe he's trying to surprise Ilyanov, but I say it's not his main opening. Arkady played last year in this tournament, and the player who won it, Hari Krishna, there was a very important game in that. Hari Krishna was white against Arkady. Arkady played the French defence. Oh no, maybe Arkady was white there, but it's a French defence game, and that was a key game for the winner of the tournament last year, and you never know, this could be as well. Yep. These two guys, if they win, they get into first equal with Shirov, who's having a relaxing day, chilling out somewhere and looking forward to his restaurant again. I wonder where he went yesterday.
Digesting the nice meal he had last night.
That's right. You know, different cause for a change. Yeah. Bizarre. Okay, so we had the French, we had the winnerware, and I think this is like this move and knight d2, in my opinion, are the main ways to test the French. And now, well, knight to f6 is more commonly seen nowadays, the classical variation. Arkady has gone for bishop b4. The winnerware variation, named after a guy called Winnerware, believe it or not. And there's a surprise, eh? And
I wasn't laughing at the story. I was laughing at the pronunciation.
Oh dear! Again, I mean, how do you pronounce Winnerware?
I think Winnerware.
If you're German, I'm not German, so it's okay. Okay, and you're kind of half German, aren't you, really? So, as someone said, Luxembourg is basically just Germany.
So every time I say something to you about pronunciation, you will get back to me
German.
saying
You're just German. You've got German pronunciation. Mine's Southern English from Surrey. Okay,
and we are getting some background information about Szymon Abramovich Winnerwa, a leading chess player who won the German chess something.
He was from Germany, wasn't he? With that very German name, and
so he won the German chess championship in 1883.
Yes, very strong player around that sort of time, and one of the leading players. And he sort of made this bishop b4, well, obviously quite popular. E5, the main move. He was Polish, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to say with that name, it was unlikely he was going to be German.
Okay, well, there you go. But did I say very German name? Yeah, maybe not.
No, you said I pronounced it in it, but anyway, let's move on.
So, okay, so E5. Now the main move C5, and the main response A3. And bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and I've played this most of my life with the black side, this opening. I don't tend to play it so much now because the line I used to play, which is after knight e7, the main move, you need to try to do something, be able to defend your king side or sacrifice it in style. And now the most testing idea of this opening is indeed Queen G4. This is a very standard idea once black has swapped off his dark square bishops. It's a very fascinating position because both sides have serious weaknesses.
I have actually tried playing this a couple of times as black, but there is just, my memory isn't the best, and it always takes me so long to prepare for this because there are so many lines and you need to be very accurate.
Yeah,
you need to remember sort of.
With white as well, you know, if you go for Queen G4, you need to be ready to memorize, you know, something like 30 moves of theory. And this is why I don't play it so much as black now. And also, well, the move that Arkady plays here is not traditionally the main and the most exciting move. It's a move I've never enjoyed playing with black. I mean, black's got this weakness G7, which is a serious weakness, but white has this weakness over here. Now, the move that is very exciting is Queen C7. And I just want to point this out quickly. And I think Mikhail Botvinnik made this move very popular on his way to becoming world champion. He played it against Fischer, against Mikhail Tal. And it gets crazy. It's a pawn sacrifice line called the poison pawn variation. And this is the kind of idea with Queen takes C3. Unfortunately now with computers, in the days of Botvinnik you could get away with this stuff, but now computers, you know, it's very hard to get away with this. Black might be okay, but white seems to be on top. So that's why black castles here in a lot of variations. This is now the main line. Other moves to defend G7 are quite weakening. You go G6, you weaken your dart squares, and you don't really want to go King F8, even though it is a move. So castles, Bishop D3, this is the move I've always been scared of. I've never played Arkady's move now. Whenever I've tried this, I've played a move like Knight C6. But I've got in a lot of trouble here with the move Bishop G5, which I think is a brilliant move here. This kind of thing. Is it here? It might be a slightly different position, but this move is really hard, stopping this, and your king can get in so many problems here. Simple threat of Bishop to F6 here. It's very dangerous. So F5 is a way to counterattack immediately. It's another typical French move. And if white doesn't take en passant, so if he moves the queen, the black king becomes a bit safer because you've blocked out the bishop on D3. So you have better defensive resources. So E takes F6 is critical. And now, of course, you have to take the rook. And now the bishop flies in to attack the rook there. And in a lot of positions, black is aiming to play the move E5. E5. But first, okay, the rook moves away, rook F7, and I think we have a fair few more moves. This is clearly theory.
Both players are following their preparation here.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's just quickly go through the moves.
Yep, Queen H5, threatening mate, forcing G6. Well, you could go H6, but that's very weakening. This weakens the dark squares around the black king. You weaken these two squares especially. And it's quite hard, you know, and black has to worry about this dark square bishop. The queen actually comes back to D1 now. Now people might be thinking that's a bit odd. Again, this is a maneuver used by Bobby Fischer a lot to just defend these two pawns in a lot of positions because you've created a lot of weaknesses with your queen. You've made this G6 move happen.
Will we see Harry?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean that would be, of course.
I don't know much about this position, but it just looks very logical to throw in H4, H5 at some point.
It does. I think given time, because now that black has played G6, you certainly consider this and take here, opening up the rook on H1. Whenever your opponent plays this G6 move, you've got to consider H4, H5. But I don't know if white has time. Let's have a look. Queen A5. Now black. This is where black gets his counterplay from. Black aims to attack the queen side. A very important move in this variation of the French. Bishop D2, okay, white is forced to come back. And now knight C6, pressure against the center. Black would love to play E5. Knight to F3, guarding, defending against that threat. And now queen to C7. And again, you can see the bishop. Well, I think it's clear he wants to play E5 here.
Wolfgang Jan Timman.
Fiona. So
the first thing of quickly run through the top boards. So I suggest we have a look at the top 6 boards, and then we will see where the action is at elsewhere in the playing hall. So let's go to Fabiano Caruana against Sergei Movsesian.
And Fabiano actually quite fortunately really
And just look, I'm just interrupting you because I spotted at the corner of my eye Fabiano's clock time, and he's up to 1 hour 45, so he's gained 5 minutes.
Wow, okay.
Since the start of the game, meaning he's played pretty much every single move straight away.
And apparently Fabiano, I was speaking to Lawrence Trent yesterday, is actually considering quitting chess and becoming a pilot. Did you know that?
Who? Fabiano?
Fabiano is considering to be a pilot. That's
or
what.
A pirate.
I don't know. I think it was either pirate or pilot. I wasn't sure. I think he wanted to be a pirate, but then Lawrence convinced him that a pilot was a better trade. So you might see him flying your aeroplane over when you next play a chess tournament. That's what I heard, but who knows. Okay.
And we're being told that Caruana last night also played in the Title Tuesday tournament, where he came second behind. Do you know?
Probably Lawrence. Yeah. So yeah. And this tournament is a great tournament if you're a title player, even if you're a CM or something. I think they have
a woman I am.
Yeah, NM. Woman I am. Who's a woman I am? Oh, you are. Ah, right. Yes, women I am. Yeah, you can play in this competition, and it's the first Tuesday of every month on chess.com. Serious prize money. I think at least $1,000, and it only goes on for 2 hours. I often play. Didn't have the opportunity yesterday because I was eating pizza with you, which I think was probably a better option, but. I quite enjoy Title Tuesday as well, so I don't know. Okay, anyway, so this opening, Mosesian can get tricks in the opening, I know that, and Fabiano is very strong in the opening. So let's have a look. We have an open Sicilian, and we now
still no Berlins.
Thank goodness for that. Yeah, still no Berlins. Knight c6, knight c3, queen c7, and this is the so-called flexible can variation of the Sicilian. This queen c7.
I'm just going on a little giggling fit because we have Mike Klein downstairs who's listening into the show and sometimes typing some information into our Skype chat, and he's saying the minimum height to fly for Cathay Pacific Airlines is 160
centimeters. Yeah, but Fabiano, apparently Lawrence said this. I said, well, hang on a minute, is Fabiano tall enough? And Lawrence said, look, he would be fine, we're going to give him some high heels. And that is apparently the latest on that. So he's going to go for his test with high heels on, and I think he'd be very, be a very good pilot. That's my opinion. A very good trade. But he might play chess for a couple of years until he becomes a pilot. Okay, well, now white plays bishop e3. Now, if you want an aggressive idea, if you're looking for an aggressive idea, lots of people I know who are learning out in chess, or even very good players, but they don't have the time to learn lots of theory. If you want to play the open Sicilian as white, I think everyone should play d4, this kind of position as white, at least once in their life, because it's so much fun and it helps you learn how to attack. You get great attacking positions. I bet you haven't played it.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I played pretty much anything against the Sicilian apart from the open.
Right, yeah.
But I think someday I should.
I think you should give it a whirl, just because it's quite interesting. Yeah. And one thing you can do, you can play this so-called English attack with bishop e3, queen d2, f3, castles queenside, g4. Against nearly every Sicilian setup. So you don't have to learn loads of different setups, and it's an easy thing to do. And there's a good DVD by Danny Gormali on this, he did for Chess Space, on this simple setup. And, so it basically cuts down on your learning time, which I think is very important. You don't spend your whole life learning various things, unless you're one of these guys and it's your profession. Okay, so a6. And, well, queen d2 is, of course, the English attack, but this queen f3 has become quite popular recently as well. I think it was actually Giri who played this line as black a lot of time, something like knight e5, and it was the world champion challenger this year, Karyakin, who played this idea of queen f3 and queen g3 here. And this was his way of playing it, rather than putting the queen on d2, because the queen on g3 pressurizes, like we saw in the last game, the g7 square. So it's a similar idea. So queen f3, and now Sergei goes bishop d6, And this, again, looks a little bit strange, but it's really trying to cover these dark squares, and the bishop sits well on e4. Not just a pretty face. There we go. Takes, and that is a big check there because you're forking these two, and it works because your queen is attacking the bishop. So queen f3, bishop d6. You can't do that anymore. Castles. Now you are threatening to go knight here. So the bishop comes to e5. Quite a nice square for the bishop actually. g3, and now knight to e7. So interesting setup there, though, I think, isn't it? From black, really.
I think this is a game I'm very much looking forward to. Yesterday we had a majority of positional technical games.
Definitely, yeah.
Then the day before yesterday we had lots of fireworks, so I'm hoping that today will be more of the tactical.
I hope so as well, certainly. We want tactics.
And that game is shaping up nicely, I would say.
Definitely.
I guess black is going to very shortly castle kingside. We can maybe go through the moves, and
sure. Queen
those
e2.
positions are always bound to get exciting.
Certainly,
when the opposite sides castling.
And we'll go through the moves quite quickly here. f4 and bishop d4. So black has to give up that bishop, and now in this position, well, e5, very double-edged move, that one. Rook d1. And I say double-edged because you give away this square, and we saw Fabiano use this square in his game against Niels Grandilius.
But at the same time, he's winning a pawn.
He is winning a pawn. Pawn takes f4, but e5. So you're trying to stop the d6 pawn from developing. f3. I mean, you'd be absolutely, I'd say, mad as a. I don't know, mad as a madman, basically, to take there, wouldn't you? I mean, that's just suicidal. You're opening up the h-file to your king. So f3, and I suppose there's lines with queen e4, but this is I'm assuming, all theory. Queen takes f3, and black has won a pawn, you're correct. Queen takes e5. Bishop g2, simply. And Fabiano sacrificed the pawn, but...
And Sergei played d6 here, and that's the position on the board.
What do you reckon of this then, Fiona? I mean,
I'm not sure what to... So black is a pawn up, and what is white? I mean, white is probably making a point that, first of all, it's not easy for black to complete his development.
Yeah.
Because once he moves the bishop, b7 might drop, although I'm not sure I want to take that pawn just yet. But also rook e1 is probably coming.
Yeah, something like rook e1 now, black probably has to give a check here. And then, oh, not there, because the knight is on pre on e7, so you probably have to give a check. And I guess this works well because you have bishop g4 in this position.
Okay.
So it's kind of a little tactical thing that
maybe I could consider putting the other rook on.
Yep.
Oh, maybe I could just start with king b1.
Maybe you could
but
play
then again, it feels sort of silly to discuss this when players are clearly still in their book.
I mean, king b1, very normal move. Also h4, again, Fiona's not silly, is it? Because it stops queen to g5 check. Both of these moves, followed by rook e1. I mean, white should have good compensation here.
I think overall, maybe what we can say, without knowing the theoretical assessment over the position, is that black is a pawn up. But I think white has decent compensation here.
Perfect, yeah. Okay, let's move on to board 4, shall we? And see.
Board 4 is Hikaru Nakamura against Benjamin Bock.
So many big names, and Hikaru's got to start winning some games now if he wants to win this tournament. At the moment, he is a point behind Alexei, but obviously Alexei Shirov is having a bye today. He has the white pieces, Hikaru, so this is certainly a game he's going to go all out to win after his...
just a second from the top.
Oh yes, after his pretty much, I would say, he played down a draw variation yesterday. Well, this is exciting.
I was just going to say, I was wondering if Benjamin would repeat his Grunfeld, which didn't go very well, to say the least, against Vidit 2 days ago.
It looks like he has. And he's gone knight to f6, c4, and now he's gone g6 here, Fiona. And now a little anti-Grunfeld move that I mean, Benjamin Bock. I mean, I really like Benjamin's style. He's a very exciting player, very tactical player, and he goes for a win with both colours. So I do admire his style. So I'm looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be a very exciting game. Now here, of course, we saw Vidit play knight to c3 here in this position, and after knight to c3, Black was able to go d5 and get into the standard Grunfeld. Now the main line here is pawn takes d5, knight takes d5, and now this knight can capture on c3. So when you go e4, Black doesn't waste the tempo. He takes on c3, forcing White to play pawn takes c3. Now Hikaru's gone f3 here, quite a sly little move. The point is, if d5 now, which is the move most players would want to play, and it is a move here, of course, you could take on d5, but after knight takes d5, you go e4, and Black has to waste a bit of time. He can't get his normal Grunfeld position, so he has to move this knight somewhere. Knight b6 is normal, and now the knight comes to c3. So you get Black out of his standard kind of Grunfeld setup, and this leads to very exciting positions, that setup there. Now, really weird move here, and this move looks so ugly, but it was a move that was first played by Maxime Legrave, I believe at Gibraltar two or 3 years ago. This move just looks so bleh, doesn't it?
I've never heard anyone called him Maxime Legrave. Like I did of MVL or just dropping. It's like calling me Fiona Anthony. So. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, just in.
Yeah.
Vachier-Lagrave. Okay, I think everyone knew who you're talking about.
MVL.
MVL.
Should I just say MVL? Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Yeah, I should probably put Vachier in actually. So yeah, very nice guy. And he's played this move as well. The other move, Fiona, you can actually play is this move. This is crazy.
This looks like something up your street.
It certainly is. Yeah, I've never played this, but the idea is takes knight h5. And you try to get queen h4 check in. This is really quite cool stuff here. But okay, e6 is well, we're going to see the point of this now. e4, I've never really trusted e6, I have to say, because I just don't like this setup with the pawns like this, because it just feels like the dart squares are always a bit weak. I don't know if I fully trust this setup. c5, and now we transpose into, well, basically a modern Benoni. So this is the idea clearly of this setup. d5, d6, and we've had a direct transposition into a modern Benoni. This is now a modern Benoni position.
And I feel like Peter is reading my mind, because I was literally just looking at that tweet. A tweet from Carl Portman. Karana pilot, you are telling Porkies the only flying he will do is to be flying high in his chess exploits. Fear not.
Maybe.
I was thinking actually, if someone missed the start of the show, they must be wondering
what on earth's going on today. So yeah, yes, I might be telling slight porkies there, but we did say we're going to throw in some porkies basically throughout the show. After the Shearoff story we heard early, we thought it was appropriate today. And
there was another tweet just quickly mentioning from Willem Woops saying, good analysis. Do you know if Praggnanandhan is the youngest IM ever? And I believe he is. He became an IM at the age of 10 years and 10 months. I believe Leonard informed us before leaving and flying out to Atlantic City. So the youngest IM in chess history.
Yeah, and he's playing here, which is great. And he's obviously going to be a great talent. So maybe he should shorten that.
And we should have a look at his game today. I think he's back on one of the top boards.
Yeah, definitely. So okay, well, let's get up to date with this one first. And we have knight to e2, bishop g7, knight to c3, and this is a maneuver again which I first saw Hari Krishna play, and this is apparently one of the advantages of not moving a knight on b1. All very subtle stuff. I mean, for example, here if you go knight c3 in this position, and it's very logical actually, this maneuver, but if you play knight c3 here, then you have to ask, where is knight on g1 going to go? Where's it going to go? Because it hasn't actually. This is the problem with going f3. Mm-hmm. The problem with f3, and this is something that remember Gufeld, Russian Grandmaster, said about the same as she said, ask yourself when you play f3, where is the knight going to go? It's going to be a very unhappy knight. because if it goes to h3, you're going to get in trouble with getting it captured, and if it goes to e2, it combobulates the pieces. I like that word. Is that a real word?
It's a good word.
It's a good word, yeah. So
the first time I heard it, but I like it.
I like it as well. It combobulates. It combobulates the white pieces. So, so this is really one of the main ideas of this subtle f3 move, that you go knight e2, and this is following a game between Hari Krishna and MVL. And after bishop g7, you now get this knight to the c3 square. And you have to now ask where the b1 knight's going to go, but this has got two decentish squares. After the bishop goes to e3, it can go to d2, doesn't combobulate, and it can also even try to come round to c2 and into this square, which is actually quite good for controlling central squares. So this is one of the main ideas of this subtle f3 opening. a6 from Benjamin, clearly wanting to play an aggressive game with some kind of b5 move here. And now a4, saying, no, you're not going to play that move, thank you. Knight to h5, so Benjamin desperately trying to gain active play. Now, queen h4 is his main idea. So Hikaru says, no, I'm not going to let you force my king to move. So the standard response, you can go bishop f2 against the check. Pawn takes d5, opening up some lines. C takes d5, the normal way to play this, normal way to recapture. You can recapture this way, but you lose any real hope of an advantage because the pawn structure becomes symmetrical. Taking with the c pawn means that white keeps more pawns in the centre, basically. And now another aggressive move from Benjamin. So he's really trying to get as much counterplay as possible. Fred e5, and there we go, f5. And now, well, pawn takes f5, and here g takes f5. And again, weakening his structure, but getting ideas of f4, queen over here, and now queen d2 played. And we have a couple more moves. So after queen d2, black has castled, and now bishop e2, Fiona. This is looking interesting, yeah?
It's looking very interesting. I'm struggling to really understand this position. The first thing I would wonder, I guess, is whether I can play f4, just to try and gain some more space.
Yes, I mean, that certainly looks like the first move I'd want to play as well, definitely. f4, and I guess now white is saying, right, well, if you go f4, you give away the e4 square. This is where my compensation is, that I can maybe put one knight there and the other knight to back it up, but I don't know. But
I was wondering if I have time to play queen g5.
Yeah, why not? Get start. Cool. You're in a super aggressive mood today. Maybe I can go g4 here because I'm using the pin on your g pawn. So you can't take on pass on here. On my f pawn. On your f pawn. Sorry. And this g4 might help black. But there's another idea here. I mean, queen g5 is it's a nice little idea, but I think g4 or g3 holds it together. I mean, you could go now that you've gone f4. You could go just knight d7. Let's get some more pieces out, and that knight looks very nice on e5. Can't be kicked away.
No, I never know about these sort of positions if giving up the e4, because I can go to e5 even without giving up the e4 square. So I could just, instead of playing f4, just go knight d7 straight away, I guess. Yeah, I think that maybe one of the problems with this here is that white might be able to play f4 himself, take that square away, and also attack your knight on h5. Maybe, I don't know, because even here the knight can go back to g, try to get into the square. So, but yeah, I think that's a very interesting position, and we will come back to it later. We will now move on to board 5, where Niels Grandelius is playing your pick to win the tournament, Mickey Adams.
Okay, let's go over that. So far, great games in store for us today. It is looking really, really exciting today, and we've got some, brilliant games in store. So let's see if we can get that game up, and we'll just try to find Mickey now. Where are you, Mickey?
Down.
Yep. Okay, good. Okay, so here is Niels Grandelius against Mickey Adams, and right, so it looks like quite a positional game, this one that Niels is doing.
Okay, so let's go through the opening moves. It looks like had a Queen's Gambit declined.
And okay, well, Niels had this very solid game, didn't he?
Yesterday,
and has he got double white?
He does have a double white. Yes.
Is that right? Is he definitely white today? It may be worth just double checking that one.
Yes, he is. Yes,
he's definitely white. So that's quite handy on a double white. And Mickey plays this system now very often. Was that?
I thought I was going to
a yawn or
there.
a sneeze? So yeah, it was one of the two. And Bishop E7 played, and now, well, again, we saw Niels plays Bishop G5. He played this against Hikaru, so he's played it again here. H6, Bishop H4, and we have E3. And now, in the Hikaru game, Hikaru played Knight E4, and the game was quickly drawn. Basically, it went here. Loads of exchanges were made. A draw was basically they just the whole game had been played before. I think Niels said afterwards. So Mickey keeping more pieces on the board now with B6, and this is the line that you play, which is the.
You said it was the Tartakova.
I think it's the Tartakova. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's a favourite of Nigel Short as well. This B6 move. Did Nigel teach you this move?
No.
No. Okay. B6, and now Bishop. Who did you have as a teacher? I'm quite interested actually.
Well, Vladimir Jansa, the famous Czech Grandmaster. He became my coach when I was 11 years old. He was the coach of the Luxembourgish national team.
So he helped you a lot?
And he helped me a lot. I was very fortunate. I don't know, you must know him surely. He was one of the best players of his time. He's now in his late 60s, but he's now the coach.
Can you say his name again?
Vladimir Jansa.
Obviously, with my dyslexia, I have to sort of see the words more than hear them.
He wrote a famous book with Grandmaster Hort, and he's also he's the coach of David Navarra. Always has been.
Right, so obviously a very good coach then. So
I think I always like to say I don't know much about chess, but what I do know all comes from him. And I was very fortunate to get to work with him.
I hear you're having lessons off Magnus Carlsen nowadays on the odd occasions. Is there any truth in that rumour? Shall we let people decide?
Let them decide.
Okay.
I saw Magnus actually the World Championship match is now just over a month away, but there was a tweet I saw. He was, I think, in Oslo yesterday, spotted playing table foosball.
Okay.
So doesn't seem too concerned.
Too worried about the match. Chilling out with a bit of table football. He seems like a pretty chill guy, though, Magnus. So I don't think he's very good psychologically. Okay, so B6, Bishop E2, and this is very solid. So this game, I have to say, which is great. It's the only game which might be a more slow manoeuvring affair. And actually, quite a lot of people like manoeuvring games, so I suppose it's good to get one of them in there. Bishop takes F6, a main move, and now, well, I mean, C takes D5. This is all main stuff. Now, I would love to have seen, you know what, here. Guess my move here, Fiona. Come on, you know. Whenever I say guess the move, it's always the same move.
G4. Would you start with H4?
One of the others. It doesn't really matter. I mean, probably either. This is actually an idea. You can either go H4 here, and with the idea of just going it only works because Black's played his pawn move. And whenever someone makes a pawn move in front of their king, well, not whenever, but most of the time, it can be a target you can attack. If this pawn wasn't on H6, my following idea would be rubbish. But the idea here is after a normal move like Knight D7, just to go G4. And, you know, already it's very dangerous. This would have been, you know, for me, more fun. But okay, B4 is the standard move, trying to stop Black's C5 idea. Black wants to play C5 to get the bishop to break free here. C6, solid, castles, Rook E8, many games in this. Rook C1, aiming against C5 again, Queen D6.
Yeah, I think one of the main ideas of Black here is to play C5 to manage to get C5
get C5 in, and then try to release this bishop. I think this is it. And now a crafty little way to defend B4. A move I don't know if I would have spotted. Queen takes B4 as a threat. If you play a move like A3, maybe Black can play A5 here in this position. Actually, one of the most important things I learnt about the structure I learnt from Ivan Sokolov, who did a DVD for Ginger GM, and he did it on pawn structures, and he did it on this particular pawn structure, and he basically did it on A5. And he said the right way to play against this A5 move, and because you've got three options, do Do you defend or do you capture? And he said that the best way to play against a5 is to nearly always capture, which to me didn't seem like the most logical move, because you get this kind of pawn structure where you go a4, and his reasoning is basically this weak b6 pawn, and it's very hard for black to break out. So that's just an interesting little strategic idea there. If a5, you should nearly always capture, according to Ivan.
And Peter is informing us that usually on move 12, black plays a5 mostly.
In this position, yeah.
And I like what he was pointing out before about the name of the variation. Did you see that? If we can get that information back about what it's called, and I'll let you tell us.
Well, thanks. Thank you. The Tartakova, I was right.
Yeah, and?
Makagonov and Bondarevsky.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Is that
so
not bad?
Peter's pointing out that that is what it's sometimes called, so it's full name.
Tartakova, okay, do you want to say it again?
It's
a big name.
Big name. Okay. And also on move 13, Queen b3 is apparently more popular than Rook c1 and was played, for example, by the great Karpov.
Yep, okay, sure. So this is, Karpov was an expert in these lines, and in actual fact, when Nigel Short challenged for the World Championships in '93, he beat Karpov in the knockout stages, and they had a couple of games in this, I think. I could be wrong.
And we're being told that in this position, Queen d2 is the novelty.
It's a novelty, very interesting. That's what I mean. It's not a move I'd think of.
So you were just pointing out why this was subtly defending the b4 pawn, because I guess now if Queen takes b4, you will throw in knight takes d5.
Yeah, nice little trick there. Knight takes d5, and now, well, if you go queen takes queen, then this is going to be very good for white, because I destroyed your pawn structure, and you've got very damaged pawns there. And if you go queen back to d6 in this position, well, I've won a central pawn for a wing pawn.
That's and also you're going to probably just take on f6.
Yeah.
Get rid of the bishop.
Get rid of the bishop. So quite, it looks like a very logical, maybe computer assisted novelty, maybe not, but very logical move. It probably doesn't change much about the structure though. The structure is pretty much the same. Knight d7, rook d1, and again that is simply aimed against the move c5. And now Mickey has played rook e d8, so I guess he's going to try to go knight f8 and
that's
c5.
A strange looking move. Mickey now just played, no, Niels, sorry, just played rook c b1.
Rook.
Okay. I mean, there's only one rook that can go to b1 anyway.
Maybe this is positioned against. Again, you've got to think about how your opponent's getting counterplay, because if Mickey can't do something with his bishop, and the only way he can do something is to play c5, then he's basically, Niels is going to have good strategic position. He can slowly improve his structure. Yep. So rook b1 is obviously aimed against c5, because now you take and the rook is very well placed. And also, again, if a5, well, I know now from Ivan how you're supposed to deal with this move. You're supposed to take on a5, and black has to take the rook. And I know again from Ivan's DVD that you're supposed to go a4 here. Secrets, yeah, his DVD was just on pawn structures he did, and yeah, I learnt a lot. And this move here, basically now the rook's looking very good, because you've got this weakness to attack, and you can just and I know again the next thing he said what you do, and Karpov showed us in a number of games, you can often try to go e4 in this position. I remember he said e4 is a natural continuation in this kind of structure, and this is slightly better for white, this kind of thing, I think.
Yep. So let's leave this off for now and move on to board 6, where Jordan van Foreest is playing against Peter Leko.
Okay, and
just down. Yep.
Okay, so we have...
And another Italian game. We've been seeing I think we've been seeing more of those than of Ruy Lopez's.
We have indeed, yeah. I mean, the Ruy Lopez bishop b5 is going a little bit out of fashion, because as we've said before many a time, the Berlin opening, you know, bishop b5 allows knight to f6, and we all fall asleep. So bishop c4, the Italian. Now bishop c5 does seem to be... Well, this and knight to f6 are both just the two moves you have to prepare for. And now castles, knight to f6, So you played this position as
both as white and black.
Okay.
But I think we've talked about this on previous days, so we can just scroll through the moves.
We can do, yeah.
Because it's so tough to explain the different subtleties.
I mean, there's one thing I would like to mention here. Again, if you're looking for something a little bit different and a little bit exciting to play here as white, rather than enter into long manoeuvres with d3, which you should really get accustomed with, the move d4 is possible here, which I never knew about until about a week or two ago, because I don't have much experience playing this, but d4 is actually a possibility, and if pawn takes d4, you transpose back into the Max Lang attack, which is very interesting. You go e5 here, for example. So d4 is a very interesting move here. Okay, but d3 is the long manoeuvring game, and as Fiona said, we've seen lots of games like this. So a6. David Howe had this yesterday, didn't he? He lost to
Maxim Rothstein.
Yep. A4, castles, bishop g5, and this is a move where.
Okay, this is getting interesting though with this h6 g5.
Yeah. And h6. I mean, I know originally it was said that if black could play h6 and g5, and you can't play knight takes g5, this is always the move you watch out for. You know, this is often a really annoying move for black to deal with. Not so much when there's a pawn here though, because you want to get your knight into d5. If white has to go bishop g3, it was a very famous old game, Capablanca, I think, played this idea of h6 and g5, and it was since that, you know, for hundreds of years it was considered that was a good idea, because this bishop now is really very bad, and it was indeed William Winter versus Capablanca, and it was at Hastings, one of my favourite tournaments, in 1919, so nearly 100 years ago, that game, longest running tournament in the world, Hastings. And yeah, this bishop was considered to be a bit of a problem, but you know, you can always find little niggles with these ideas, and sometimes the black king can also prove to be weak because of this, but we'll see. So interesting. Bishop a7, tucking it away. Knight bd2, king g7, and now rook e1. So white is trying to get this knight into that f5 hole there, and now knight to h7 from Peter, who I expect again is probably prepared here.
Maybe he's refuted the Italian as well.
Yeah, maybe he's just going to refute every opening, refute the Italian. He's just like a god, the Peter god.
Or Lico, as people point out in the chat, you like calling him.
Lecco, still the same guy, isn't he? You know, knight to h7, Lico, Peter Lico. Of course, I should get his pronunciation right. Lecco, sorry. Why do I always call it Lico? Lecco. My apologies.
I think you have an issue with the letter E. Like, you like to throw E's in everywhere.
I was told I was dyslexic at the store, actually. Yeah, I know.
Nakamura.
It might have something to do with dyslexia, because when I was at university, I did my exams on a computer, because my spelling and grammar's always been very bad, so that might have something to do with it. So actually, you know, it's actually a disability. Do
you want us to feel sorry for you just because you can't pronounce player name?
I do, basically. Yeah, I love that. No. Adds a bit of a, so, but I hope I don't insult anyone. That's the only thing I'd be worried about. But, you know, if I do, then
that's what I'm here for.
That's it, to insult?
To insult you.
Oh, to insult me, okay, yeah. I have to say, if someone got insulted by that, then they'd be pretty sad, wouldn't they? I mean, it'd be pretty sad. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm getting more excited by this than by the usual Jacobianos. I guess black will have ideas of playing f5 here. Maybe bring the knight to e7. Maybe just play it straight away. But I like this, and I'm looking forward to see how this game will develop.
Yeah, also, is there an h5 even as well? It's not ridiculous to go h5. H5, H4, possibly. F5, maybe. Something like this. And all these maneuvers look quite sensible, don't they? So this is, we've seen this a lot. I mean, I thought this idea, you know, historically was meant to be good for the guy who forced the bishop to g3. So it's meant to be absolutely fine for black here, just from about 100 years ago. I mean, maybe we'll find that Jordan, as he's such a young player, doesn't know that game. Maybe he doesn't know his classical games. Maybe he doesn't know that. I'd be amazed if that's the case. Though. I mean, he's obviously he's a very well versed player, even though he's only 18 years old.
Right, we will come back to this later. Let's now move down to board 10, where Erwin Lamy is playing against Salam Saleh, who yesterday had a great chance to take out top seed Fabiano Caruana, but as you mentioned yesterday, those players are extremely tough to beat, and you have to beat them not just once, but a few times. And he had managed, I think, to beat him the first time, but then he failed to.
Yes, indeed. And it's again, most of Salem's games are very exciting, and Erwin, more positional players. So this is really, I'd say, a clash of styles generally, even though Erwin's very capable of doing tactics and vice versa for Salim. And after knight to f3, you can see that Erwin just wants to keep it nice and safe. Excuse me. So do we get some tactics going here? Well, the English is one of the safest openings to start with, and d5 played. Now, attacking players like Black in this game prefer to have positions with more space. If you're going to attack, then you really want to have more space. It's easier to attack with more space, so d5 is a natural move. So pawn takes d5, knight takes d5, and now this trendy line with e4. And this is all very topical at the moment. Knight b4, and very interestingly, bishop c4 is the main move here, allowing knight d3 check, and now king e2. It's very, very strange opening this. I mean, I know Ronian's played this with white a number of times. Knight to f4 check, and king to f1. So white can't castle, but he's got two more developed pieces than black, and the king should be able to tuck itself away quite quickly here. You're not going to checkmate the white king just with one knight as well. Now knight to e6, and black's idea of doing this maneuver, rather than exchanging a knight for the bishop on c1, which he could have done, he figured this knight was more important to try to cover the d4 square, and this makes logical sense. d3, g6, trying to cover the d4 square. Good on you, Erwin. Come on, Erwin.
Come on, Harry.
Come on, Harry. Come on. h4. There he goes. And again, we've seen this a lot.
It's funny if we if I didn't know who was playing, I wouldn't guess it was Erwin with the white pieces. So very interesting game here.
And again, we see that black plays g6, white attacks it with h4. Normal idea. h6. Now this is a normal response because after h5, black wants to go g5. This is a normal way of meeting this Harry attack. So bishop to e3. On the downside of this, we might see that black will find it hard to castle eventually. For example, bishop g7. And only now that black has better control over d4 does white play an interesting idea here. He gives up his bishop for that knight. And he figures that that bishop was better than the knight. I mean, the knight was better than the bishop, excuse me. So before it has a chance to come to d4, so he eliminates it from the board here.
And we're being told that the players are following a game from 2014, a game between the Spanish Grandmaster David Anton and Benjamin Bock, who's also playing here. And they are also following a game between Spielmann and Timman. In that game, if we just fast forward a few moves, so after knight c6 here, d4 was played
by Spielmann. Against Timman.
While in the game between Anton and Bock, they deviated on move 12 already, where white played bishop h3.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's bishop somewhere.
Bishop b3. No.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. But this has been played before, so it's all
bishop
e3.
Yeah. No.
A bit all theory. Yeah. So. I mean, I think the new move that was played in this game was okay. Well, okay. I guess Salim was quite happy. Because he's able to sack a pawn. He's always happy when he sacks a pawn. And the new move here is bishop e3. d4 is played by Spielmann before. Bishop e3 is the first new move of the game. Very logical new move. Bishop g4. So I think black's strategy is conquer d4, command and conquer that square. Queen d2, stopping, well, maybe stopping black from castling because of the h6 pawn. Queen d7, and now knight to e1, guarding this pawn, over guarding it. Rook d8, and I think we have a couple more moves according to the main board. We have, after rook d8, f3 play, kicking that bishop away, bishop e6, and now rook d1. So black has sacrificed the pawn. White has a little bit of funny pieces here, doesn't he? I mean, he's got, just a little bit of a weird arrangement, but he is a pawn up. If white can ever play d4, d5, he'd be winning.
Yeah, I have to say I'm looking forward to Salam showing me. I mean, I find it interesting to see, for him to show me where the compensation lies, because I can't really see it at first sight. I mean, I can see the pieces are a bit awkward, but it's going to be an interesting one, this one. It is.
It's not any necessarily clear-cut compensation here, is there? And he's still yet to prove where the compensation is going to come from. So I'm quite intrigued. Maybe he has to try to get f5 in, even to do something drastic like this to create some play. I mean, you have got positional compensation because you can put your knight there and keep your knight on that square, but that's not the kind of compensation that black is more accustomed to. He normally gets tactical compensation.
Right, so let's leave that one off for now, but shaping up very interesting. I think a lot of interesting.
Definitely, those are great games today.
Today. Let's move down all the way to board 19, where Inna Gaponenko is playing against Alexander Donchenko. And now here we have an Alapin, one of the openings I play. I said earlier I don't play any open Sicilians, but I do play pretty much everything else, and the Alapin is one of those.
And this is the c3 move against the Sicilian that, I've always thought this is quite I have to admit, I'm going to let a little secret out of the bag now, that when I play c5 as black, which I hate playing against c3, there's a couple of moves I really don't like playing against. I'm happy to see an open Sicilian because you always get a tactical game. When my opponent plays c3, I'm like, oh no, go away, please, you horrible person. And lots of people play this against me now, and I just don't like it. And now there's two main moves, knight f6 and the move play, d5 main move. And I mean, it's really nothing to be, you shouldn't be scared of c3, but it just doesn't lead to the most entertaining positions. So yeah, pawn takes. The one way black can try to make this position interesting in the whole opening, if you're looking for a way to spice things up, is by playing knight to f6 here. This is the main way you can try to spice up the c3 Sicilian. For example, now if white gets greedy with c4, which is perfectly fine, you now go for a pawn sack line, similar to those of you who know the Icelandic gambit, and that is with e6, and if pawn takes e6, bishop takes e6, and this is great compensation because you try to castle queenside here and you get loads of lovely play on the d file. So that's the one way as black, if you don't know what to do against the c3, the Alapine, is it the Alapine? Alapin. I was thinking of pine trees there.
Yeah, there is no E in the
pine trees. No, I just like pine trees. We get a lot of them in England, and it's that kind of year where they come out to bloom. And yeah, that's the way to make it interesting. But okay, let's get on with the game. d4, g6, and knight to f3, and bishop g7, knight to a3, normal move, trying to get a bishop to c4 and maybe hop in here. Pawn takes d4, bishop c4. This is, I remember this being all theory here. It's quite a crafty little move coming up here, and Sam Collins showed this to me once, actually, because he's an expert. He's an international master from Ireland, an expert with this on the white side. Now, it might look like white has to do some move like king f1 here, but this next move I think has is a great move, actually. Bishop e3. I mean, how many people would actually even consider playing such a move? Very funny move. There was another line. I remember, I think even Luke McShane nearly fell into something like pawn here. I've got to get this right, excuse me. It was something now. I think it was about knight a3. There's another little trick here. It was bishop e3. And this is the other way white can play. Really deadly trick here. Now, loads of GMs have not noticed this. Pawn takes pawn pawn takes pawn, and now in this variation, where does the black knight want to go? Well, it can go to f6, but generally it wants to go to h6 and to f5. That's such a better square because it attacks things. And this has been played by a number of grandmasters. Can you see why that's a mistake, Fiona? I'm putting you on the spot now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sorry, I was just adding the pressure there. There's a move here which wins a piece immediately. And wins a piece immediately.
Queen C1.
Queen C1. Yeah, it's a really sort of deadly move because it attacks the bishop and the knight. And it's funny, a lot of grandmasters have fallen for this weird little tactic. Yeah. So anyway, that's just another funny variation here. But here, bishop e3 is an amusing move. The point is, if pawn takes e3, we can go, and we press our noise button there. What was that one? I like that one. I like that one. Do that one more time. Is your throat okay? And and the point is, well, king f8, queen d8 check. At some point, you take here, and then you lose your queen. So it's a nice little tactic. So knight to h6, pawn takes pawn, all been seen before. Bishop g4, and this. I mean, if black can get a couple of moves in, like knight to f5, knight to c6, then he can be very happy because of the pressure against this. So bishop h6, stopping that knight coming in. Bishop takes h6, rook e1, forcing that queen to make a decision. And this involves a pawn sacrifice from black. So queen f5, rook takes e7 here. So black has given up a pawn.
And he's giving up another one. And white's just hoovering up.
He is doing a hoover job.
She is, actually.
She is, yeah.
So
good point,
in a Gapanenko with the white pieces.
Yeah, I'll hoover that one up like a Henry. do the hoover sound.
Yeah.
That's the one. There's the hoovering rook. It's coming around hoovering those things up. Rook takes b7. And now, okay, 2 pawn sacrifice. Can you really do this? Rook b8. Rook d3.
The bishops do look strong, but then 2 pawns are 2 pawns.
I guess you're always going to get 1 back on d4. So takes, bishop takes, and now just very calm move. Rook d8. Every black piece has got a real purpose here, hasn't it? And knight takes d4 is coming. Knight takes d4.
And look at the time situation.
Wow.
Alexander Donchenko has only spent, well, less than 10 minutes, while Ina Gaponenko has almost spent an hour. So I could imagine she's not very happy here. No,
I agree with you. And Donichenko, if I'm not wrong, is one of these, as Lizzie calls them, Schachprinzen. Is that good German? Schachprinzen.
But I don't think they even say Schach. They just call them Die Prinzen.
Die Prinzen.
And there's a couple of them playing here. There is Alexander Donchenko. There's also Rasmus Swane. Yeah. And a very talented generation coming up. I guess Jan Christian Schröder wasn't one of them yet, but he should, who's also playing here.
And what that means is basically chess princes, the princes of the German chess world. Yeah. They're young German grandmasters, or they're going to become grandmasters. They're the next generation of chess players.
Well, all of them are grandmasters already. So
all grandmasters,
very
strong,
up and
players.
Coming.
Yeah. And Donichenko is extremely well paired. They have these training camps in Germany, so something like this going into this, he's kind of younger generation of player who probably would have prepared all this up to move 16 and further, and probably found a force mate in 57 here, maybe 55. I don't know. So I expect this is actually good for black. I mean, and it looks like a lot of pressure here. Yeah. I mean, there's a major threat of knight takes d4 and knight takes f3. So who are the
so
Prinzen?
The Prinzen, there's Matthias Blühbaum, Dennis Wagner, Rasmus Swane, as I mentioned, who is playing here, Alexander Donchenko, and there are also some very strong women players like Hanna Maria Kleck and Filiz Osmandoya, who is also playing here. We haven't had the chance to see one of her games yet. But
okay. So and I mean, this just looks like a lot of pressure for a pawn. I mean, white is going to have to defend something like knight c2 here, but there is a problem in knight c2, Fiona, and I think that is now, can black generate a big attack with the move knight to e5? Maybe. I mean, there's other options, but this idea, just trying to crash through here. it is possible.
Can I possibly just give up the queen?
Yeah, probably.
Can I take?
So if you give up the queen, though, you do also run into bishop takes f3, though. I think this is...
yeah, but I will take.
This is probably going to be... Your king is very weak as well. This is an issue. Don't go rook d7. Don't go rook d7. Little cheeky check. This is
it's a pity I don't have rook d8 followed by rook d7.
Yeah, if you could get away with this and take on f7, it would be all right. But I got this check, haven't I? Went picking up the rook. So I expect this is just good for black. Maybe this whole opening line is good for black.
Okay, but still, if we go back, here after king g7.
Yeah.
Rook d8, king g7.
Sure.
Can I maybe play e6?
E6, and I can probably just take that maybe, unless I have something else stronger. I mean, I can check and take it as well.
Yeah, but my bishop on b3. Check and take it with the pawn.
Check. I can maybe check you first. Let's say your king. Your king's quite weak, it seems, as well. I don't know where it goes. Maybe h1 or f1. I'm not sure which is safer. And I have at least a draw with black already, which is quite nice of black pieces. But I think I'm a queen up. So
unless I can go to e2. I mean, after check, go to f1.
Okay, so if you go to f1, I just
take this
probably
pawn. It's not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, another interesting game, but we will come back to that and all the other games which are shaping up very nicely after our first short break. And like every day, if you want to get in touch with us, you can talk to us in the chat on chess.com/TV, or you can tweet at us using #IOMChess.
Yes, get your tweets in. We try to answer a lot of tweets, don't we? I mean, if you do send them in, you probably even be able to post them up, a lot of them, so you know you'll see yourself in the bright lights of Holly Isle of Man wood. So yeah, where stars are made.
Yeah.
So
we shall be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you soon.
I wouldn't dare consider myself a Manxman. I'm what here is called a stopover. The Isle of Man's definitely home for me now. In the middle of the 19th century, the island really began to try and grow its tourist trade. They chose to establish a steam railway. The sight, the smell and the sound of that steam railway is very evocative. The Great Laxey Wheel, or the Lady Isabella as she's called, is a massive working water wheel designed to pump water out of the deep mines. It's now the largest working water wheel in the world. Peel Castle's on an island called St Patrick's Isle, and the castle has a history of religious settlement and defence that makes a real strange mixture in the buildings that you see. The whole island itself, though, St Patrick's Isle, is enclosed by a curtain wall, a wall that goes all the way round it. What's special to me about the island is it's all sorts of different places in one. It's all sorts of different people. In a sense, it's the whole world in a tiny place.
Chess.com is about playing. At any moment, there are thousands of people from around the world playing on Chess.com. So whether you're a total beginner or a grandmaster, you'll find a game quickly with someone at your level. You can play at any pace, from 1-minute bullet to 5-minute blitz to 60-minute games. Or you can play more relaxed games where you have several days to make your move. There are tournaments starting every few minutes. Or you can play against our customizable coaching computer. Chess.com is for learning. Chess isn't just about playing, it's about getting better. Chess.com puts the best training tools at your fingertips. Sharpen your game with over 50,000 tactics puzzles. Improve your strategy with training videos by top grandmasters. Get instant feedback after your games with real-time computer analysis. Regardless of where you're at now, you can take your game to the next level. Chess.com is for sharing. Join the community where you can discuss chess ideas in the forums and follow the latest chess news, or join a club with friends and play in a league against other clubs. You can find all this in your browser at home and at work, or on the go with your phone or tablet. Signing up is free and easy. So what are you waiting for? Enjoy your game.
Hello and welcome back to the round 5 coverage of the Isle of Man International Chess Tournament, sponsored by chess.com and the Scheinberg family. We're going to go straight back into the action. It's an interesting day today, and we're going to go to the game between Jordan van Foreest and Peter Lecco.
Yeah, certainly. So Peter has just played knight to h7, and kind of a little bit concerned about the bishop on g3, but very interesting. And if we look at the time situation, you can see on the clocks there, they both spent quite a bit of time, so I don't think this is theory. And here d4 was played by Jordan, and I have to say Jordan has surprised me quite a lot in this tournament. I mean, I really underrated his chances against Hikaru, and he proved me wrong. I thought he was just a pawn down, but I have to say, in that game, that was amazing, I thought. It really showed some great maturity, because if you can remember that game, Jordan, the current Dutch champion, played Hikaru. I thought he was just a pawn down. When I looked at the game afterwards, he pretty much played a perfect game, according to the computer. So he's now gone d4. And this must involve a pawn sacrifice. So g4 played by Lecco, and now knight to h4, of course, this knight has to move. And here, Peter just grabs the pawn on d4. So he does win a pawn, but you can sort of see why White has played this, because, you know, the bishop has got a bit more scope now on g3, so we don't have to worry as much about this bishop. And the black king is weaker. It is weaker, so it is more exposed. So yeah, in this position here, I don't know, very interesting position, Fiona, don't you think?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this, at least recently, and I'm just trying to make up my mind what I think about this.
I actually got thumbs up there about my pronunciation. Cheers, Rohan. Yes, I said it right for a change. Woohoo! There's the first time for everything. I'm sure I'll go back to my old ways soon. Yeah, just a very complex position here. I mean, it is a pawn, so White is really the player who has to, you know, prove the compensation. And it'd be lovely if you get this knight to this square and not allow it to be taken, but I don't see how that's possible. Now, do you go knight f5 anyway? Do you play this move anyway? That's certainly a prime candidate.
Think that,
The first move I think we look at should be a check, and it should be this knight coming here with check. Of course, this is a critical move. Black will eliminate that strong piece straight away. And now there is ideas of queen takes g4, so a normal move here would be something like h5 or queen g5 here. I'm struggling a little bit to see the compensation at the moment. I mean, maybe h5. I mean, there's always a bit because of the weakened king, as I said. Is it enough in this position? Do we have any other options apart from knight to f5 check? Because, you know, I don't really see how that helps us too much. Why don't we keep that as a possibility later on? I mean, can we do something else?
I want to also bring my queen over to the king side. I was looking at moves like h3, and if you take, maybe bring my queen to h5, but I'm not sure how that's... And then maybe bishop f4, maybe hit h6.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I suppose if you try this one and black does take on h3 and we go here, probably queen g5 is always a good reply at the moment. That might change, of course.
Maybe start with bishop h. Yeah.
Maybe bishop
Everything
f4,
I'm looking at seems very slow. Yeah.
So we certainly need to find a good plan here. Is even e5? Is e5 interesting here? That would be a normal attacking move to play, because, you know, we want to open up more lines and activate either our rook or our bishop, potentially give ourselves the e4 square for our knight. So maybe a move like e5 is not so stupid here. And also, we can get control of this diagonal on the f5 square. Yeah. So maybe this move e5 is interesting. I don't know. I know, but I think black can just take here because there's a problem with the knight on h4. Forgot about this one. I keep forgetting about this knight on h4. Okay, so Jordan needs to find a good move here, doesn't he, to prove his compensation. He's going for it, but he needs to find a strong continuation here. I mean, even knight b3 is not ridiculous. What about that one as well? Knight b3 is another idea, just trying to win my pawn back. The main advantage black has is the pawn, so you probably should take.
Yeah. And also opening up the bishop on a7.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to play knight d4 and knight f5 now. This is okay.
Can I play queen f6?
Queen f6, trying to stop me moving my knight to this square. And yeah, I mean, there's ways you can always try to get compensation, even with like king h1 here. And I think Fiona mentioned a similar plan, move the f pawn next to open up the f file. It doesn't seem to be quite enough to me at the moment, but probably the player I've been most wrong about is Jordan. So I could be wrong again here. At the moment, and I love sacrificing pawns, don't get me wrong, you know, but I just can't see quite what the next stage is in the attack here, but he may come back and surprise me.
Well, I guess he will show us, at least try to show us. We will let him think about it, and we will go back to the board for encounter between Hikaru Nakamura and Benjamin Bock.
Yeah, certainly so. Where are you? Here we are, and this was very interesting. This is going to be an extremely exciting game, and two Dutch players we're looking at here. Dutch are doing okay at the moment.
Yep.
So
keeping our producer happy.
For the time being, yeah. And knight d7 was played first, and this was always looking like an okay plan. We were wondering about f4 here, weren't we? But I'm assuming f4 was not good because of a check on h4, but I could be wrong because bishop f2 there.
Yeah, but then we can take on f4 maybe.
And I take on h5.
That's a good point.
Maybe. Let's have a look. Let's just check this out. If I go check here, you might even be able to get away with g3 here. Knight takes g3, bishop f2 is another potential problem with a check on h4. I wonder why Hikaru didn't go f4. I mean, I suppose, as we said before, the knight can come back to the square, and next move it can come into e4, but it'd be nice if there's a more dynamic solution here for black. Even queen e8 is not so silly, something like this, queen e8 to g6. Well, he didn't play this, he castled immediately, and now black, well, took the opportunity to go f4 now, and we thought this was the best way to get some chances. Bishop f2, and now your move, Fiona. There it goes. And the eagle is nearly landed. It's an interesting position, this. I mean, it's the kind of position I wouldn't be entirely comfortable in Hikaru's shoes here.
I was just going to say that if I were black, I would want to quickly play king h8, rook g8, get my bishop out of the way, and mate on g2.
Very nice idea. Crash, bang, wallop plans we like. Crash, bang, wallop. And yeah, I mean, that it looks like black has the easier attacking play here.
Also, as we mentioned earlier, there is
yeah, he's played the move I thop he had to play, actually.
Because I was just going to, so we were also talking about that knight that nice e5 square the knight might hop into at some stage.
Certainly. Well, I think the problem is if white, okay, you could go knight e4, but so what? I go queen g6, and you could then go here. But if white just played natural developing moves, black's initiative is going to come so quickly. I think I go here first. I could go for Fiona's plan. But now I've moved the knight, there's an even quicker way to get through to g3. And there's always, even knight g3 is often a good, there's so many attacking ideas here that black has. So I think...
So Hikaru has taken some drastic measures and gone g4.
He has, yeah. And well, we talked about this earlier, and this was one of the problems I fought with queen g5, that g4 gains space on the king side and holds up a lot of the attack. It's much harder for black to break through after a move like g4. Now, how do we cope with this? Do we go knight e5 anyway and try to sack on g4? Can we go crazy? Can we try?
No.
Should we try? Let's try knight e5, because the pawn is pinned as well at the moment, so we can try.
But what's the? I mean, the pawn is defended. So what's your? I mean, it's defended twice. It's you're attacking it with the bishop as well.
Yeah, got some cheeky,
crafty
Simon. That's my chess nickname, The crafter.
Okay, so what? Can I play King H1? Get out of the...
King H1.
Out of race harm.
Yeah. And now I need a good move here. And where is my good move here? Is there a good move? It's really annoying that I can't really ever move my f-pawn, or because there's loads of ideas of knight g3 I'd want to play, but they obviously don't work. I don't think taking on g4 is going to be good enough with your king here. It just looks... I'm not... I mean, we could have a look, but I don't believe it. I mean, something like this. You've even got rook g1. Then knight takes f3, I suppose. But let's say you take here, knight takes here. Is this really going to work? Doesn't.
Can I just take?
Take, queen takes.
And even maybe just queen e2. Queen
e2 and queen e6,
yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to work, this plan. You're quite... Well, I suppose f3 is not working because you go queen e6, swap the queens off. I don't believe this after g4. Let's just see what he's going to play. Well, he's gone knight e5, so he must have a particular... And king h1, bang, straight away. You see, you know what Hikaru did there? He ran upstairs, he opened the door and he said, what's Fiona suggesting here? What's Fiona? Oh yeah, Fiona's got it. Fiona said king h1. He ran back downstairs and he banged out your suggestion. Okay, so now the knight, much more sensible, comes back here, and he really needs to take on g4 or go h5. He needs some chaos over here to happen. Actually, it's very interesting. A lot is going to happen over a couple of moves. That's why I'm spending a bit more time on this game, because already on move 17, I think we've really reached a critical moment. It's one of those positions where if white stabilizes, let's say with h4 or something like that, he's fine. But if black can get a knight takes g4 in, or get an h5 move in, that's another idea to try to break it up. Lots of things are going to happen here. And the white king could be... So he's gone rook g1. So Hikaru is trying to stabilize. And again, if he can manage that, I think he'll get the upper hand. Okay, I think it doesn't look like there's any immediate breakthrough here for Benjamin, and
it's going to be very, very exciting.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, maybe even knight a3 to c4 is coming up next. Try to get rid of this knight. It's a good suggestion.
I have to say, this is again another game where I was liking black, and then a few moves are being played, and I'm like, oh, maybe I like white after all.
Yeah, I get that quite a lot as well. You know, it shows the understanding of these top players just see through all the rubbish we try. We've had a suggestion to go to Vidit's game. I think we will come to that soon.
But first, we will go to top seed Fabiano Caruana, playing against Sergei Mosesian.
And then we're
the first one.
Yeah, and then we go to Vidit, shall we? Because we want to keep an idea for the polite people in the chat. And let's go to this one. So we had the last time we looked, queen takes e5, and we had bishop g2. So actually, rook h1 was played. Okay, queen g5 check, king b1. Now, why didn't this move work?
Did I play my suggestion again? I mean, I had suggested rook e1.
You did,
e1,
yeah, you
right?
did, yeah.
We had this position on the board, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah, you did. They played your suggestion. Why not bishop g4 here, though? This is very similar to the game. Why not bishop g4?
But I can just hit the knight on e7 maybe with queen e4.
Okay, well, take your rook.
Yeah, I'm not very good at counting, am I? No, sorry. Okay, let's go back. Knight, bishop g4.
I'm just wondering what the it's one of those ones where there should be a move. We just
maybe knight. No.
Why? Strange, isn't it?
Maybe queen takes. I don't know. Queen takes b7.
Queen takes b7.
And you take on d1.
Take on d1. And now...
Yeah, I was wondering if I can take on a8, but it's not enough.
Maybe you can play this. Well, I think you go queen takes e7 here. This is probably the way to do it. And now the bishop attacks this one, and we're only exchanged down, but I'm attacking the rook
and that's a good point.
and the bishop. So it should this is the tactical justification. Like queen takes queen, probably forced, and here the bishop's attacked and the rook's attacked, and that's probably the reason, isn't it? So okay, so that's the little tactical point. Again, you see these top players relying on these little tactics to get the position they want. So bishop e7, and now Fabiano, very brave player, has grabbed that pawn on b7. I say brave because you're opening up a line towards your king. And, you know, Sergei is going to obviously try to create an attack here. He has to because he's a pawn down. And it's funny how Fabiano's gone from being a pawn down himself to a pawn up now. And, I mean, a normal move here would be, let's just say rook b8. Let's have a look, because again, very interesting position we have here. Rook b8. I'm moving this rook because when the queen moves, I don't want to allow my rook on a8 to be attacked by your bishop. And I'm thinking, well, if I've given up one pawn, I might as well give up another one. You can take that one. And now, I don't know if white would take that one. It looks risky to take the second pawn because I have many ideas here, many interesting ideas. My bishop on e6 is a good attacking unit. I mean, let's say I go queen c5, for example, because with this move I get my queen to the battle zone and I threaten queen takes c3. So that looks like a natural way to start generating an attack here. And
I was even thinking you could maybe play rook c8 and then, oh no, I'm starting blundering. I wanted to play rook c8 and then maybe double rooks on the b or c file after rook c6, but that bishop on g2 is doing a good job of stopping that. Yeah.
I mean, this queen c5 looks quite interesting because there's another. Look at this, Fiona. If you go king b1, which I think a lot of people might consider playing, wow, you certainly must analyse rook takes b2 here. You must look at this move. King takes b2, and now probably rook b8 first.
If I play bishop b7.
Bishop b7. I'm going to go queen b, or maybe bishop.
Yeah, but queen b4.
And this is a very strong nerves here. Just grabbing that pawn with a moment, because I've been thinking, okay, to say this is good, but as we saw, but Niels had the compensation there, and it's really, I think.
Although both of them have been around for a very long time on the top level circuit, and that game was a draw in Paulsen Sicilian with same colors in Reggio Emilia in 2011.
I think I just saw 4 walk past in the background there. I think I just saw 4, the God of War, wasn't he? With the long blonde hair. Have you not seen the film 4? I don't know. He was there in the background.
I haven't seen the movie, but
no. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, very. So
shall we go by popular demand to the game between Vidit and Lalit, the Indian clash?
So let's have a look. Okay, and right. So we'll go through the open moves quite quickly and just try to get to the current position of this one. We have an exchange Queen's Gambit. The exchange on d5 obviously makes it that line. And we saw this occurring a lot in round 1. Vidit, the favourite for this game without a shadow of doubt, because he's only lost to Alexei yesterday, still on a very good score. And when this gets interesting is after castles, well, f4, and now white castle side counter. Pawn takes d4, pawn takes d. And yeah, I mean, white's got Hyrena. Is that a word? Hyrena? Don't know. What's black going to do to get attacking here? Black needs to. Not easy to do so because the normal plan would be to get the rook to c8. But where do you put the bishop on? Where do you put this bishop at the moment? It doesn't have many great squares. So with g4 coming up the board, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah. You know, we're talking about Caruana becoming potentially a pilot. Yeah, I think Hikaru would make a very good sea captain with a nice hat. Captain in the seas against Somalian pirates. What do you think? We'll suggest it to him at some point and get some
next
feedback.
Next time he's up in the studio, I will let you suggest.
Thanks.
That.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so...
I like white.
Yeah, I like white, but it's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be very exciting.
This is one of the ones we should keep an eye on and come back to in half an hour because
it is going to explode at some point.
Definitely. Yeah.
Shall we have a look at the game of our good friend David Howell, who's playing a very strong woman player today. He's playing Diamante Daulite, who just got married to Grandmaster Mathieu Cornet literally the weekend before the tournament started.
Okay. Diamante.
Just under this one.
Aha. Is Diamante a name of a diamond? Maybe. Okay, should we just have a look at the current position here?
Sure.
So the current position, and this is move 18.
David is 2 pawns up.
2 pawns, yeah, indeed. And
but B2 is hanging.
B2's hanging, and knight B4 ideas are potential here.
It's quite an interesting position.
It is, yeah. He's very good at calculating, David. Normally, he's extremely strong, calculated defender. A lot of these strong players as well, as we saw Fabiano grab this pawn on B7. That's not a move I would probably play, but they're not afraid to grab pawns. A bit like, should we say, Korchnoi was one of the famous pawn grabbers, and the late Victor Korchnoi, brilliant player. He had the best score against Mikhail Tal against anyone else because he just took Mikhail Tal's pieces and just refuted his sacrifices quite often. So on this position now, what should black do? I mean, I think rook takes b2 looks like the obvious first choice here, but I think if this knight's coming to d5 and the other one to e4, it's if you get those pieces into these two squares, lovely, especially that square.
Oh,
it's
and look
a beautiful square.
David is up on the clock.
David's up on the clock. What's going over? The world's going to freeze over. Unbelievable. This is a first. Someone take a picture. Get the camera out, Fiona.
I have to say, we were mentioning we had pizza last night, and we were joined by David. And although he did lose his game, I still did.
You gave
him
a really good telling off yesterday. I was very impressed. I think you started on me, didn't you? You moved around to David.
And the only one who got away with this was Niels.
Niels was sitting there.
I told him it was a boring game he played.
You did, yeah. You said, I think you started with me, and you're like, your pronunciation, and terrible, and then you're like, David, you're next. And
your time management.
Your time management is awful. And he's like,
Niels, your game was bloody boring.
Yeah, that's it. And everyone was just sitting there, Fiona. And they're like, yeah, you really.
And so it seems to have worked. David's up on the clock, possibly the first time ever.
Exactly. He needs you as a manager, really. You need to, slap him into place more often. It was quite funny, though, because we asked him what he was thinking about. When he spent 40 minutes or half an hour on move 6 yesterday. This is David Howe.
No, to get to the position, he didn't spend that long on one move, but he was just constantly spending 5 minutes
on each move. Yeah,
on each move.
And he basically said he wasn't even thinking about chess; he was just thinking about his life.
Yeah.
And
not a very good time to think of your life.
No, exactly. Yeah. And he did actually also say he's going to prepare for the games today by going for a swim in the sea.
Yeah, which he didn't do.
Which he didn't do, unsurprisingly, because it's a very cold sea in the Isle of Man there. Didn't you say you were going to join him?
I said I would go and film it and put it up on the show.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, I think I like his position. He's up on the clock. I think it's
should be doing well.
It's looking good.
Should be doing well, yeah.
So shall we go to a player we haven't seen yet, and that is Australian international, or is he a Grandmaster? International master, Max Illingworth. And he's playing against Axel Bachmann. Where are they? He's a Grandmaster, sorry, Max. He is a Grandmaster, and they're playing on board 12. They're also in the group on 3 points, so another interesting encounter here.
Yeah, and again, we'll go to the current position. Now, one of the strengths of Max Illingworth is his theory. I mean, again, he's incredibly well-prepared player, and he does write, I think, he's written a lot of articles for, I think it's Chess Publishing, which is a theory site, and other sites, and he seems to analyse things in a real in-depth kind of way. Okay, well, it's getting interesting here, and he's just played knight to c6, and he was also, I think, Max, one of the few titled players who subscribed to the very popular, brilliant, amazing Chess Vibes opening series. which we recommend everyone to do. Is it still going? Okay, well, it's too late now. It's gone. It was so great, I had to take it offline because it was too popular. It was too popular. There was too many crowds queuing up to
couldn't cope with demand.
Couldn't cope with demand. Maybe it'll be brought back into life another time, but it was just too amazing. So it's gone now. But knight to c6 has just been played by Max.
And Mike is informing us, because I wasn't sure if Max was an IM or a GM. He got his title in March this year, and he also tied for first in the ocean.
In the ocean? What did he tied for first in the ocean? What tournament was that?
I don't even know
with David,
when
David was swimming. He tied for David when he was swimming in the ocean. The Oceana.
Oceana. Thank you, Simon.
I'm always here to help you out with your pronunciations, Fiona. So
the Oceania Championship
what?
in 2015.
Oceana. Getting some revenge here, and I'm loving it. So he did, and well, he's a very strong player, and he's just gone knight c6 in this position. That's a juicy old square, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That is a lovely square for the knight, and he has a nice space advantage. Wow, well, that knight has to be eliminated. You cannot let that knight stay on that square. I mean, queen c7, I could even go oh no, you can't go queen c7, can you? Can I take on e7 here even? Maybe with the rook or the knight, I don't know. Can I take on e7? I'm not sure if I can or not, because it's c3 on pre at the end. Well, I can maybe. Let's have a look. Knight takes c7. I'm just working this out. Check. You have to take my knight. And now you go queen takes c3. And if I calculate this right, I can go...
You can take on f6.
Take on f6.
But can you take on c3 first?
I can do, yeah. I can take on c3 first.
Just to force things.
This is very forcing variation. And now I take on f6.
And if you take with the bishop, then the knight is hanging on d7. And if you take with the knight, then the bishop's hanging on b7.
So I go and exchange up.
Yep.
So after this move, knight c6, what else can black play? Well, black can go bishop takes knight, but then we simply go pawn takes, rook takes, and here I guess bishop takes a6, and this should be pretty good for white with the two bishops and a lovely square for this bishop, and the a pawn's going to go way. So Axel, I like the name Axel. One of my favourite singers was called Axel. Rook takes.
That Axel Rose?
It is indeed, yeah. Which you were singing randomly last night, weren't you? At one point,
yeah.
I can remember you. Come on, can you do it now for me?
No.
Why?
Because we were in a private setting. We just
finished
the show. No, it was when we were leaving, as we were leaving the playing hall.
Okay, yeah.
Just humming away, happy
to
songs. Have the day over.
Yeah.
I don't even know what prompted the song, but it's singing Paradise City.
Paradise City, I think, yeah. Great song. So rook takes c6 was played, and that's a drastic move because you've just given up the exchange. And of course, Max took back, and the bishop took.
So
very
we have
drastic.
A knight and a pawn. So we have a pawn for the exchange.
It shouldn't be enough.
Shouldn't be
enough. I mean, if I try to take on a6 here, which is a move to try to win a pawn, then I'm assuming black's idea is to go something like bishop takes g2. I can't go queen a8 first
because there's bishop f1.
Bishop f1. So you probably have to go bishop takes g2, and after king takes, for example, now a check, and this has done some damage to the king side, so there's good compensation. In actual fact,
I don't think white should take.
There's knight e5 coming, so you shouldn't take on a6, but if you don't get caught up with any tricks like that, then surely it's not quite enough, is it?
I think this is going very well for Max, and we will keep an eye on it, but meanwhile we will go back to Erwin Lamy against Salem Saleh.
Yeah, definitely. Someone's saying that makes sense to me. You can't imagine him putting on Tim Buckley. I love Tim Buckley, actually. Do you know Tim Buckley? He was the son of, the father, wasn't he, of Jeff Buckley. Jeff Buckley was also brilliant as well. what game? Salem. Okay.
F5. Yeah.
There we go. And of course, this was getting very exciting as well. So we're wondering if Black had enough compensation around this point here. So how I mean, this guy is like a magician sometimes. Salem. He really is. I
was very impressed by his game. Okay, he failed to convert, but he still played a very good game against Fabiano yesterday.
Yes, indeed. So he did, yeah. I mean, up to a point, he only missed really one killing move at one point, Rook F3, which the great Gormali pointed out. Why isn't Danny playing here? He'd be creaming this tournament.
He's very active on Twitter.
Danny Gormali.
I can only recommend following him.
Yes, you should follow Gormali.
He was actually today. He does post a bit of nonsense sometimes, but he's quite active on the chess front, I have to say, today. He was tweeting at us earlier about the Von Forest's game, and we'll bring up one of his tweets later.
And again, if you want to tweet, get yourself on Twitter first, otherwise it'll be quite difficult. And the name above the boards over there, well, nearly poked you in the eye, but over there in the corner, hashtag IOMChess is where you leave your tweets, and then you can see Danny's tweets. He's talking about the games, and you guys can get involved with the tweeting and also have a chat amongst yourselves. And I do recommend everyone looks at Danny's last article. It's free. It's a great read as well. So check that out. Can you guess where his article is?
I know.
Do you? Okay.
I have to admit I haven't read them yet, but I will. But Danny should be here, it's true.
Danny should be here playing. He's a great player. Yeah. It's a pity he can't fly or get the boats. I
mean, we've mentioned his games so many times. But he was one of the shocking games of the initial tournament here. Well, not the initial, but after the longer break. 2 years ago when he beat Julio Guanda in 16 moves.
Yeah,
it was quite impressive.
He must have got the ferry over because he's very scared of flying and sometimes scared of getting the ferry as well.
Anyway, back to the game.
So, okay, B3, and actually, here we go. So Black did play the move I thought he might have to play because you're a pawn down, and if you can't see any, you know, sometimes you have to take some drastic action, and F5 is such a move because you're trying to attack, even if it weakens your structure more. You want to create chaos, and F5 is such a move, and this is where Salem is strongest, when he creates chaos. And pawn takes F5 was played, and now pawn takes F5. So this has created a bit more imbalance in the position. Knight E2. That's a good, solid move to avoid any tricks on C3 and to bring that knight to maybe some square over here. Bishop to F7, sidestepping a knight to F4 move. Rook C1, and now the queen has just pops back to D7. I actually think that Black will be quite happy with this, I have to say. I mean, these guys, I think have only played once before. I don't know the result of that game, but you know, doing my hours of research before the commentaries today, I think I recall them playing one game in 2000 and some year. So I again, like if we just look at the styles of the players, Erwin doesn't like, don't get me wrong, he can play great tactical games, but he prefers, as white especially, to have a slight advantage and just to push, play. Salem, on the other hand, fancies madness. He prefers absolute chaos at the board where he can get an attack. He doesn't care for pawns so much. They're only the little guys. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like pawns. He throws them away with, you know, and here White's pieces are not really at the moment so happy. Yes, White is a pawn up, but look at this little congregation of pieces over here. I mean, where are they going to get into the game?
And E.O. Gül, who I think refreshed your memory about Erwin and Salem playing before. First said Salem won, but then no, Erwin. So apparently Erwin won that one game they played in 2015.
Well, one of them won, or it was a draw, I seem to remember, if my memory serves me correctly. But I imagine that's quite an interesting game because, again, it's a clash of styles. But this is another game which I think is really going to come to life. We'll come to the top boards in a second, by the way. We'll cover them, I think, now. Go back to all the top boards and just see what's happening. But this is, again, it's just boiling. It's boiling. It's going to get to the point where the water's starting to come over Stove. Okay, come on to the stove.
So let's go back to young Jordan van Foreest and see what he came up with, because he invested a pawn into his attack.
He did indeed. So,
and we weren't quite sure. And actually, Danny was tweeting about this game half an hour ago, saying, "Isn't that Van Foreest Lego game similar to a game played between Hu Yifan and Muzechuk in the World Championship?" And I have to admit, it could very well be, because they...
It's a game played recently between the Azerbaijani player Marijuana, played this year somewhere, I can't remember where the Azerbaijani player played a very similar idea, got quite a big attack, ended up losing
probably
that game.
At the Gashimov Memorial.
I think it was the Gashimov Memorial, yeah, in this year. Fit similar in a way, I think it was anyway. And well, let's see what Jordan did here. So he went pawn takes pawn, okay. Bishop takes d4, and now we see why he took that pawn immediately. He wants to get this square for his knight, but he doesn't want to recapture on that square of a pawn unless he has to. So he goes knight to f1, which is a very good idea, because he wants to go ideally knight here, then you can see the point. If bishop takes, you get your knight to f5. You know, I spoke about this yesterday.
And just as you say this, he contradicted you on the next move, because after bishop f6.
I think he had to, though, here.
Yeah,
I mean,
because otherwise he can just take on h4.
h4, yeah.
Just looking if he could have taken on b2, but I think that would be too greedy. Let's
have a look. If he took on b2 here, that again, when you win one pawn, it's a good idea not to try to take too many and let you know if you lose time. And I think here I'd just happily-ish anyway. Probably have to play this move whether I want to or not. I mean, you could try to take that one. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't believe in
risky,
this for black. Yeah,
it's a bit risky to do this.
But let's go back. Yeah, so I think bishop f6, the much more sensible move.
Yeah, forcing this knight to move. So you now are able to take this and force a white pawn to f5, which is certainly something might be happy with. And now h5, so guarding g4, we spoke about this. Bishop to f4, and the knight, Peter is just trying to keep things under control here. And again, I think instinctively,
we actually have a couple more moves. Let's just see.
Right.
Knight g3 was played. And
that's a nice move. So trying to meet bishop takes bishop with knight to h5 check. So that's a nice idea. If bishop takes bishop here, quite an extreme way of guarding that. But this is it looks like quite a safe little gathering of pieces. But it looks reasonably safe here. And how does white prove compensation for the pawn there? He still hasn't quite proved it in my eyes yet. He's still got a little bit of time to, he's got a little bit to work on here. Because if you have to take the bishop, well, I'd probably take
with the queen.
Probably. There's a knight e4 I'm a bit concerned about here.
You can take with the knight, maybe, no?
Yeah, either queen or knight. And we have another tweet from Carl Portman here, and he's saying it's lovely to see Peter Lickel playing so much promise, who's playing so much promise at one time. He's still in the top 40. But what next for him in chess? And he hasn't played an Open in over 20 years. He used to be an incredibly strong player. He was nearly world champion at one moment, so it is nice to see him play. And he's one of these players who probably just found it a bit hard to keep up with things, as he goes along. But it's good to see him playing again, certainly. Okay, well, there might be conversation here, Fiona, but I don't quite believe it's enough, personally. Again, could be wrong. So let's go back to the top boards and
let's check in with our friends Nils Guardenius and Mickey Adams.
Okay. This was looking like a more positional, slow game. And look at this. You remember I said, what did Ivan Sokolov say in the best DVD in the world?
A5.
When you go A5, you take on A5. And this is a really good strategic thing to remember, guys. Because it happens so often in this kind of minority attack pawn structure. When they go a5, you take a5, and the other thing I said that white should do in these positions, well, you can go a4, but once you've done this, the Karpovian idea is e4. So he's basically doing exactly the thing that Ivan pointed out in this DVD, which I did not know about before watching or being there helping make that DVD. And now, okay, take here, knight takes, queen e6, and now white gets rid of the bishop on f6, and he grabs himself a pawn. But on the other hand, okay, black gets this pawn. So rook b2 now has been played. There's a lot of things being swapped off here, isn't there? So, you know, a lot of things.
Do you think we could be headed towards a similar game as yesterday?
I think so. I think it could be swapsies and draw. Could be swapsy city and then draw city for these two, maybe. Potentially, I think. Okay, so yeah, I mean, a lot of pieces are coming off here. And
but also it's worth mentioning, we don't see the clock times, but Peter told us that Grandelius had been investing quite a lot of time, but Mickey has now been thinking for over 20 minutes, but he now just played, just as I say, this knight e4 is on the board.
Okay. Right. Active move there. So knight to e4. And I expect white will have to play a move, I'd imagine, like queen to c2. So, you know, or queen b4. I don't know if it makes so much difference. But again, there's a lot of material being exchanged, so I would imagine that this could well peter out. I'd probably move my queen to c1 actually, so I have a threat of rook takes bishop. Maybe you'll get some position like this, unless there's other tactical things going on here. And well, if you get this position, I'd prefer it to be white, because the bishop on b7 is bad, and the pawn on c6 probably more of a weakness than the pawn on d4. So in actual fact, he has gone queen c1. So this is the move he's played. So I think it's slightly easier to play for white. Slightly easier to play, but I'd imagine someone with Mickey's strength should be able to hold this, because he's only got one real problem. Well, two slight problems, bishop and pawn, but they're not major. Okay, let's go back to board one. Should we go to board one? I think we should go right to the top.
So let's check in with Wesley and Maxim Rothstein.
Yeah, let's see how the board one encounter is going. Oh dear, right, let's go to board two. Right, okay. This is just, it was always looking like a slow manoeuvring game, but just because Wesley played this e3 move, and I mean, Maxim's style is often very slow and positional with g6, so I think neither player taking too many risks here. And I'll go through the moves quickly because they're just playing very simple developing moves. Wesley now deciding to take on d5. Now normally that is something you wait on, because it relieves a lot of tension in the position. It's not something you want to play straight away, because you just lose any potential edge. But I'm sure he's got an idea here. And his idea is just to, just to play, again, it's another like exchanged Queen's Gambit position, where your main idea as white is to go b4. And this is, every chess player should know about this idea and this pawn structure. The main guy I know who's an expert on this is Keith Arkell. Well, that's very kind of you, Gary DeWitt.
Actually, I read the tweet and I couldn't make sense of the second sentence, but it's a very nice tweet. But
I think that means hopefully the powers that be. Do you know what that's an English saying? Hopefully the powers that be. So the people in charge of tournaments get us involved with every tournament.
Nice.
That's very nice. Yes. Thank you, Gary. That's another £10 I owe someone. Getting all my friends to tweet in. I'm going to run out of money soon. So, okay. Oh, no. There we go. So, okay. And, well, b4 is really a move that you must know about. And you must know these kind of structures. This is Karpov. Look at his games for this. He was an expert. Keith Arkell loves these positions. And you just try to go b5, try to take on c6, create a weak pawn on c6. That's why this rook is here. So you can gang up on that pawn. It's a bit like the Grandelius structure in some ways, except the pawns on b7. So it has some differences, which makes quite a lot of difference. Because if the pawn was on b6 and you go b5, black can go c5. But you can't do that in this structure. And the other thing is, if you go b5, which is the long-term plan, and black takes on b5, you weaken d5. You make that an isolated pawn. So this is a strategic idea, this b4, b5. It's called a minority attack because white has less pawns on the queen side compared to black. Black has 4, white has 3, so you have the minority of pawns over there. But it's a very standard idea. Knight e6, rook a2, a6, trying to stop the minority attack. Queen d1, a bit of manoeuvring, they're shuffling. Every day we're shuffling. Good thing no one saw our dancing there. Good thing they didn't have the camera up. They missed that one. They missed a treat there. You actually missed Fiona dancing there. God, maybe later.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday, yeah. Maybe even Sunday, you know, the last day. But okay, knight a4. And this knight comes into some holes, bishop d6, it comes into the hole, queen e7. Now, generally, these positions between strong players end in draws. Between two good players, they often end in draws because you could say white has the easier play here with the knight here, but it just seems it's very hard to break through in this type of structure. It's a bit easier for white to play, but that's all. Just only a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to spend more time there. A long game ahead of ourselves.
And we will go to Caruana very shortly, but just before we do, we'll check back in with Jordan van Foreest and Peter Leko for 1 second, and we will let you guess a move.
Okay, so here we go. So
it's a bit.
Okay, so that was after King H6, and let me just untick that. Oh, brilliant! So
Peter just played King H6 here. Now, can you guess Jordan's move?
Brilliant. So get your suggestions in now. So this is the position, and yeah, it was Jordan to play, and I was doubting. I keep getting his games wrong. He's like Mickey. He's like my Mickey Adams. I can't because maybe he's doing very well here. Maybe he's playing a fantastic game. And what move did white play here? So
it is an incredible move.
It is an incredible move.
No suggestions come in yet, but I think we're just going to show it.
It's early in America, isn't it? So
and then we will try and make sense of it.
Yeah. Oh, there's a delay in the chat. So we give everyone a second or two, shall we? We give them just a couple of seconds.
Okay, while they think about it, while we wait for them to get our question.
Yeah.
We can think about explaining how we're going to explain it.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I'll leave that one to you, shall I? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's a really fantastic move. Actually, it's quite. I mean, it's not a move. Shows some talent just to think of that move. In actual fact, I mean, this kid's going to be very good. I have to say, just coming up with moves like that. And one of the themes of the day was, by the way, if you've just tuned in, it was Alexei Shirov has had a bye today, and he's the only leader on 4 out of 4. And he had a bye. It's quite a funny story, superstition-wise, because he wanted to change restaurants. Long story. I'm not going to go there again.
Long story short.
Exactly. And what we were saying then, we were going to give you some little things throughout the day, some truth or dares, weren't we? Have you come up with any yet? So,
no, I'm not very creative. You're in charge of that.
I'm in charge of some little porcupines, am I? Or maybe not porcupines.
And meanwhile, in the chat, Chess King Dreamer did guess the move, and the move is indeed Bishop C1. What a move.
It is. And here, Jordan, with this developed piece, he's moved it now back to C1. And you can see there, that has taken Peter by surprise, definitely, because he was looking very, very confident before, walking around. And as soon as Jordan's played that move, he's like, what on earth is that? What on earth is that move? And Fiona, you were going to explain that move to us.
Yeah, maybe. There was actually a couple of other interesting suggestions, like H3. Also, knight takes H5 is a suggestion that should be right up your street.
Knight takes H5 is a move you'd think of, but after King takes H5, you need a good move here, and I can't see what it is. You can try H3, but
maybe just Knight F6.
Knight F6. I might just move my King back and just run back to safety here.
And Chess King Dreamer has the honesty of admitting he didn't guess the move. He was following the game.
You cheat.
I mean, it's a hard move to guess, I have to say.
It's really hard. I think the point is that the Queen. Okay, let me try to explain this in the best way I can. This Queen eventually wants to get to C3. So let's say, for example, we were thinking Queen D2. I was thinking Queen D2 here. Bishop takes Bishop. queen takes bishop check, and now queen g5. And I was thinking, well, here I don't really see a good square for the white queen, because you certainly don't want to exchange queens when you're a pawn down. And where else do you go? You can only go to e4. That's a stupid square for my queen, because my knight wants to go to that square. So with bishop to c1, white really is lining up knight to e4. This is the key ingredient of white's whole plan. This knight wants to get to e.
I think he's suggesting followed up by rook a3.
Yeah, well, we'll have a quick look at this. I mean, knight to h5 is a piece sack, and you are a whole piece down now, and rook a3 is attempting...
No, it's not mate in one.
It's attempting to come over here with check, but again, what are we doing against king h6? I mean, you could go queen takes g4 here, and that is actually starting to look quite scary once you get that one in, because rook h3 is now a major threat.
Also looking very interesting.
How do we stop that, actually? So let's try to find a good response to this move first of all, before we have a look at what happened in the game. So that's a nice idea,
that
actually.
Is a nice idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Also, this is a good point to mention once again. We're not using engines in positions like that. They are very helpful, these tricky little engines.
They are. And because we're looking at so many games and talking, we don't always have much time to concentrate on one game as we'd like to. So it takes us a little bit longer.
This is very interesting.
This is a very interesting idea. So let's just have a look at this one more time. So king here, rook a3. I think I can probably just take on f4 here. It's very close to working, this idea of Jonathan, is it? And let's say rook h3 check now. This is clearly the idea. The rook's
I'm already looking at queen takes g4.
Queen takes g. Yeah, I love it. King g5 only square. I'm 2 pieces up, and we want to get a queen g4 in. Definitely.
Can I take just on h7?
Yeah, I take on h7, and now I think my king should.
Well, I'm going to take on, if you run back, I'll take on g4.
It's an interesting position, I agree. This was certainly a possibility. Maybe my knight can start blocking squares. Okay, we'll certainly say that's an interesting idea. Probably not quite enough in the position, but I do like the idea there. Very, very exciting. Now, bishop to c1 is also a great idea, I think. I was just in the process of explaining this one, and it was to do with the placement of the queen. The way I see it, because I was explaining after queen d2, the queen doesn't have a good square. But after bishop c1, the difference is now if black takes on c1 and goes queen g5, as we just looked at, well, the queen has many other options here, because you want to keep the e4 square open for your knight. So I'm assuming somewhere like queen c3 is the idea. Again, I might not quite got the nail on the head, but knight to e4. Is the move I want to play, but even then you take on f5. So it's let's have a look. Well, Pete's still thinking here. So why doesn't he take on c1? I mean, I just want to look at this a little bit more, because I'm still just trying to work out exactly why this bishop c1 move is the right idea. So if I'm black, I want to take on c1. Maybe I'll just take with a rook. Why am I taking with a queen even? That's kind of helping you get over here. But why don't I just take with a rook here? That's maybe even a better move, because my rook gets into the game, and knight e4 again. As long as I get knight e4 in, then it's getting dangerous. So maybe it's just rook takes as the simple answer to this. That probably makes more sense. And white's pieces are better positioned here than they would be if white had taken on g5, because you help the black queen come in this way. So that's why this underdeveloping move makes some sense. And if after bishop c1, if black doesn't take on c1, I'm going to play knight e4 anyway. I'm going to try to force you to take that one. So actually, this is going to be a very interesting game. And Jordan again surprising me with some very imaginative and good play. So he seems to be going strength to strength, this kid, at the moment. So yeah. So
we will come back to this. Let's go back to board 3, where top seed Caruana is playing Sergei Movsesyan. We've had some developments here.
Yes, so Fabiano played very bravely by going meow and taking on b7. And in this position, well, I was thinking about rook to b8 here, but instead d5 was played, and this is trying to block the bishop in, maybe so the other rook can pawn because he'd lose his bishop. He goes queen c6.
Just saw from the corner of my eye at FIDE master Harry Gielen from the Netherlands, and I would recommend to all of you out there who are following the tournament to take a look at his photo albums, his photos he's been posting from the tournament, because there's some excellent snaps in there, and I'm a big fan personally.
So how would we look at the photos, Fiona? Just by following him
yes,
on
just
Twitter?
Look him up on Twitter. You see his tweet up there, so look him up, and there's a link to the photo album with some really excellent snaps. And
of course, Harry is from Holland, so you can see his preference for the two players of the Netherlands there. You know, so, and he's right, though, both of those games are absolutely fascinating. And to be honest, today is a much better day than yesterday. Today is a great day. Yeah. We nearly had a little nap yesterday, didn't we? We thought, oh, we can't be here anymore. No more endings, please. And today we've got so much more fun to concentrate on. So
what is happening in this game?
Well, I think this game is it's very concrete. It's either white's winning or black is winning, because white is 2 pawns up. So if black cannot prove something here, and I don't think that's a very happy look on Sergei. I don't know. If he can't prove something here, then white is simply winning because he's 2 pawns up. I think it's as simple as that now with this d5 move. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, if you play a move like d5, you're going to expect your opponent to take it. So I'm not sure if, should he have gone d5? What's his idea here? Because you've given up a second pawn. You should have some ready-made response to this, and he's very short of time, Sergei, as well. 25 minutes left, and what is his idea here, Fiona?
I'm not sure. He really did. You just see? I think you went, but he was just looking to the side and shaking his head. So I'm not sure he actually has an idea right now.
That's like me. That's the kind of chess I play. Or I mean, let's say moves a rook to c8. I mean, okay,
which looks logical.
It's got to be a logical move. Rook to c8. Attacking the queen, bringing another rook to an open file, and also, if something like queen takes a6, then I think I can take there as long as I don't fall for any back rank tricks. So rook c8 must be the first move worth considering. So rook to c8, where does the queen go? So where's Fabiano going to move the queen, or is he not going to move the queen? Does he have something else up his Fabiano magic sleeve? In this position.
I guess he has to move the queen.
I think so. I mean, you could flick in an h4, but that makes no sense. But where do you move the queen now? So, for example, if queen d6, then rook d8 is certainly another candidate move. And the point is to take on d5, winning a piece here. So there's got to be some little hidden tactic that we're not quite seeing at the moment. So where do you move the queen? Where does this queen go after rook c8?
Rook takes e6.
Rook takes e6. Is that the hidden tactic? So rook takes e6. And if rook takes queen?
Rook takes queen. Rook takes...
rook takes rook.
This looks good for black to me. Unless there's a big hit here.
Well, if we take on c6 now.
This is just very good for black, isn't it? Just winning.
Why?
Queen up.
Well, I have a rook, a bishop, and a pawn. I might be hitting f7 in the future.
I don't think black should be worth it, though. Surely. I mean. This is okay. We're going to find out.
Is on the board, and we will find out.
I mean, maybe this is not winning. You're right. I'm exaggerating there, definitely.
But it's better than just being 2 pawns down.
Yeah. I've got a queen. I have got at least a queen. I've got queen e5, and you probably have to go bishop here, and I've got a5, and this is I don't know. Maybe it is all right for white, but it's okay. He's gone queen d6. I don't think he could give up the queen like that, because only black could be better. And queen d6 has been played, and so
bishop f5. So what was the matter with rook d8?
So let's have a look. There's probably a tactic here with rook takes e6 at some point, or a queen d8 at some point here. Something nasty's happening here. What's wrong with rook d8? Indeed, this is the key question here. What is the move here? Oh, is it just Queen E5? I think it's just let's not
Yeah,
simple is good.
Simple chess.
Simple is good.
Yeah.
And this blocks the queen, tries to swap queens off. Yeah, that's just it. Nothing too crazy. Queen E5, just 2 pawns up, make some exchanges. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that's probably the answer. So that's why after Rook D8, after Queen D6, Session has now gone Bishop F5. Fascinating position still. I mean, okay, he's obviously trying to take on C2.
So what if I just go Bishop E4?
If Bishop E4, trying to block that idea. Well, maybe
but now you might have some Rook D8 somewhere.
Maybe I can just take the bishop and now play Rook D8. Unless there is a back ranker again. I'm so worried about...
I was looking at the back rankers as well.
There's so many back rankers I'm just like worried about for both sides. Both sides have weak back ranks. Very tactical exchange going on here. That seems to win for black, this position, because there's no way to stop Rook takes D1. I think it wins.
Yep, I agree.
I think, unless, again, easy to miss tactics in this. So Bishop E4 is not possible. Now you could try Bishop B3, but then you have to worry about Rook takes B3, unless again there's a back ranker taking on C2 there. Okay, so for example, let's show that. So if Bishop B3, trying to defend against the threat, then the obvious move here would be to get rid of the defender of C2. So Rook takes C2. So Rook takes B3. And again, I can't see any back rank tricks because the queen on G5 covers D8. So I can't see how going to get anything to work here. And now you have to take with the A pawn. And now Bishop takes C2. Check, this is very bad for Fabiano. Oh no, he's got Queen A3. I missed Queen A3. I thought you couldn't go King A2 because of Queen A5 check, but Queen A3.
Well, if it wasn't for Queen A3, it would be mate.
It'd be mate, so. yeah. So.
But this is okay for black.
Should be okay, shouldn't it? Because it's only 1 pawn up. No, it's not even a pawn up, is it? Okay, so this is definitely good for black. So actually, it's only 1 pawn in this position. So I thought it was 2 for some reason. It's only 1 pawn up. This is.
It would have been 2 if we'd taken on A6 earlier.
Yeah, if we'd have grabbed that one.
Yeah.
So what does Fabiano actually do here?
Yeah, maybe this wasn't so clear as we thought at first.
Right, I know. Again, it's another one where we've sort of all over the shop, aren't we? But does he have to go Rook E2? I'm going through all the logical ideas, and now I'm thinking of Rook E2. What about Rook E2? Is this what he had planned? I mean, Fabiano taking on B7. It was a brave choice, but without prior work, it's also maybe a bit too brave. We saw him being brave yesterday, but maybe again it was a bit too brave in foolhardy. So Rook E2, let's try. Yeah.
I was just looking at Bishop F, if I can ever make Bishop F7 work, but I think that's a bit
Bishop
too
F7.
much. Bit too much.
Bishop F7 followed by Queen D5 or something.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Probably the king comes to G. Yeah. Probably it sits there. Probably. Yeah. So Rook E2 guarding C2. And it's only 1 pawn though, so it's actually...
I think this is very, very tricky still. Okay, let's come back to this one. And we've had another request, both from Rohan in the chat, and Mike has also told us that game is heating up. So let's go to Vidit against Lalit, where we really liked White's position earlier.
And that was just boiling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So coming up to boil.
Boiling point.
Indeed.
Okay, add on the top.
Got it. Yeah. So we had here opposite side castling, last position here. Now I like this next move. This is a great move. When you castle on opposite sides, you certainly don't worry yourself about pawns or anything like that. If you can give up a pawn to gain the initiative, you do so. So this next move from Lilith is a brilliant idea, Knight E4, because this is trying to get rid of one of the defenders of the white king. When you're on opposite sides of the board, speed is of the essence. So don't bother playing.
I think you just made a mix of the 2 players' names. Didn't you just call him Lilith?
Probably, yeah.
Which would be a mix. Like
mix Lilith, yeah. So, but how do you say it?
I think it's just Lalit. I don't think the H makes a difference.
Sounds a bit like Lalich, doesn't it? which is a bit worrying. So knight e4, and yeah, this is a good idea though. Just get rid of defender, even if it costs you a pawn. And of course, white has the choice of taking 2 pawns now. If he takes this one, we could even consider bishop f5 here first, but also just pawn takes pawn. I'd think this is normal. Queen takes pawn, and now the white king has no defenders. So I should get an upper hand here with a move, even like bishop e6. I've got my pieces are getting in very quickly to the attack here. Not sure if that's the right one, but this is the general idea. Yeah. So instead, white took on d5, and now bishop f5 anyway. Woohoo, party time. Trying to get the rook to c8, and also...
And there we see the player whose game we're just looking at, Philip, just looking at the game between Jordan van Verweest and Peter Leko.
Yeah. So, and yeah, Peter Leko is wondering what to do after bishop c1 still. But okay, we're back to that a bit later. So here, knight to e3, attacking that bishop on f5. Rook c8, so black bringing the pieces in. Now you have to block the file of the rook here, so you have to put a piece in the way. So bishop f4 pretty much forced some move like that, and it is now black to decide what to do here. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Pieces everywhere, but pieces threatened everywhere as well. I mean, my natural first move would be something like b5, but maybe I take here first. Wow, it's all going a bit crazy. Let's say b5. I mean, let's have a look. Knight takes this one, and now I play something. Knight takes e5. So I want to take on c4 with my rook, so I have to get rid of the defenders of the c4 square. So knight takes e5. And absolutely crazy position here. I mean, there could even be some queen sacrifices here with this going on. Takes here and then taking here. This kind of thing. This has gone crazy. So this position b5 looks like a real first primary move here. Is there anything else we could look at here? Maybe as well as b5. Pieces literally everywhere. That's why
I have to admit, I have no idea what's going on.
This is a
total chaos.
I mean, to work this one out, even the players are probably struggling to work this one out. Yeah. But for a commentator who's just come into it, it's very hard. I mean, I imagine...
And actually, you can see Lalit there with the black pieces. They are sitting right next to Jordan and Peter Leko, which explains why Vidit is standing just there.
Shibboleth. I think I know what shibboleth means, actually. b5. I learnt that a long time ago. b5. And here, well, I don't know. What else can white do? Let's have a look at this line one more time. Knight takes f5. And after knight takes f5, well, I was suggesting knight takes e5, but you're right, Fiona. This is just absolute chaos. Knight takes e5. I mean, this is probably one of the forcing lines you have to try to analyse first. And after this knight takes e5 move, it looks on this position that black is getting the better of it, but there might. I mean, I obviously could be missing something here. I would not be surprised at all. I'm looking at all the forcing captures here. Let's have a look. Queen takes e4 is another move, but after queen takes e4, I was assuming knight takes c4 should give black the upper hand, because the white king is now more exposed than the black king in this position.
Although if I just play king b1, how do you follow up? King
b1. Let's try something with... I even want to play bishop a3 here. This is the way my crazy mind... Well, I mean, why not? Why not try bishop a3? Because we're analysing, I can get away with this rudeness.
What if I take?
Take, knight takes a3.
King b2.
King b2. And now rook a2
but
check.
I will just take.
Take, queen a5
check. No, I want to take your rook.
I know, but I want you to take this one. So, okay. Boring. You're going to just take the rook. Go away. Well, actually, this is not so clear because I get your knight on c5, f5. And actually, I think black might be doing well here. This just shows you some of the crazy complications which are going on. This queen takes f5 move to come. Absolutely crazy, yeah?
Yep.
Who's that you said? Shibboleth. Zebra leg.
Okay, so let's let the players think about this one. And meanwhile, we have our first decisive result of the day, I believe.
We do.
And that is Max Illingworth beating Axel Bachmann. We thought it was looking good earlier. He was an exchange up. So let's see how that game concluded.
What a great result that is. I mean, Bachmann is an incredibly strong player, young player who's over here with his girlfriend. So I hope she's enjoying the Isle of Man as well. And
Max is now on 4 out of 5.
Incredibly big score. I mean, he's one of the lowest, must be probably the lowest rated player in that score group. And I
think he was already the lowest on the 3 out of 4, so most definitely.
Definitely will be now.
He was the lowest, just confirming. I know, the Indian player. There was an Indian player, Hemant, who's below 2400 even. But very likely he will be the lowest on 4 out of 5. So let's see what happened there.
Right at the bottom. So again, brilliant result for him. Brilliant result for him there. And okay, so we saw the knight c6 thing, and we saw this position. In actual fact, white did take on a6. So he allowed bishop takes g2, queen a8 check, because he had this knight d5 move, and he obviously calculated this knight d5 move reasonably well.
Yep.
Knight d5, and incredibly complex position here yet again. The idea is if queen takes a6, I think it's obviously not to go knight c7, because you'll lose your knight to queen b7 check. In actual fact, I'm assuming it'll be just either take on e7 with check. That must be the best move. Let's just get greedy and take on e7. Why consider anything else if we can win a pawn and come down and take that one? So very, very aggressive play. So e6 here, and now bishop c4. Just very simple. This really is quite a walkover for Max. He got a good opening, and it just shows you. I mean, I think at lower level, openings don't really matter as much as people think they do. People really get obsessed with openings, but at these levels, the quest of understanding British chess is a true privilege when explained by Ginger Short, Trent, or Gormley. Well, the other, they always talk about the English school of chess, and we were very fortunate in England, Britain, as well, but in England in the 70s to have so many great players. We had an abundance of great players. This queen takes f5 move to come. Absolutely crazy, yeah?
Yep.
Who's that you said? Shibboleth. Zebra leg.
Okay, so let's let the players think about this one. And meanwhile, we have our first decisive result of the day, I believe.
We do.
And that is Max Illingworth beating Axel Bachmann. We thought it was looking good earlier. He was an exchange up. So let's see how that game concluded.
What a great result that is. I mean, Bachmann is an incredibly strong player, young player who's over here with his girlfriend. So I hope she's enjoying the Isle of Man as well. And
Max is now on 4 out of 5.
Incredibly big score. I mean, he's one of the lowest, must be probably the lowest rated player in that score group. And
I think he was already the lowest on the 3 out of 4, so most definitely.
Definitely will be now.
He was the lowest, just confirming. I know, the Indian player. There was an Indian player, Hemant, who's below 2400 even. But very likely he will be the lowest on 4 out of 5. So let's see what happened there.
Right at the bottom. So again, brilliant result for him. Brilliant result for him there. And okay, so we saw the knight c6 thing, and we saw this position. In actual fact, white did take on a6. So he allowed bishop takes g2, queen a8 check, because he had this knight d5 move, and he obviously calculated this knight d5 move reasonably well.
Yep.
Knight d5, and okay, incredibly complex position here yet again. The idea is if queen takes a6, I think it's obviously not to go knight c7, because you'll lose your knight to queen b7 check. In actual fact, I'm assuming it'll be just either take on e7 with check. That must be the best move. Let's just get greedy and take on e7. Why consider anything else if we can win a pawn and come down and take that one? So very, very aggressive play. So e6 here, and now bishop c4. Just very simple. This really is quite a walkover for Max. You've got a good opening, and it just shows you. I mean, I think at lower level openings don't really matter as much as people think they do. People really get obsessed with openings, but you know, at these levels, the quest of understanding British chess is a true privilege when explained by Ginger, Short, Trent, or Gormley. Yeah, well, the other, they always talk about the English school of chess, and we are very fortunate in England, Britain as well, but in England in the 70s to have so many great players. You know, we had an abundance of great players, 60s, 70s. Of 80s, I'd say, coming through. You know, the likes of Tony Miles and players like this. I've got Arbiter shaking his head at me now, so yeah.
There are a few of us who can remember the era before that.
And the era before that, I can't quite remember, but Penrose era, do you mean?
Well,
or
yeah. I played chess.
Yeah.
Penrose kept winning the British Championship.
Penrose was another great chess player as well. Yeah.
The year I first played in London Junior, in the section just below me, was a player called John Nunn. John Nunn as well. John Nunn is another player we're going to say, but I mean, obviously in England we've had very strong players,
Talking of
didn't we?
strong English players, let's go back to one of the English players in the tournament here, and that's David Howell, who concluded first.
Yeah. It's just hard for the show to hear you, David. That's the only problem. So so we better keep going there. But e5. Bishop takes f6, and it just looked like White had a tactic there, and bishop.
Let's just see the last few moves.
d5, queen takes e5, another little nice tactic. White's now a whole rook up, now queen a1, and it is just, and he's attacking another rook, so that was just a complete walkover there.
Very nice game by Max.
For Max in that position. So. Okay.
So let's move on. Talking of great English players, let's go and see how David is getting on against Diamante.
And also, we haven't seen Mickey for a while as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll do that.
Really.
I think we'll look at David, have a quick break, and then come back with Mickey and the other top clashes of the day.
That sounds good. So it looked like David was doing well. He needs to bounce back from his his loss yesterday, where he wasn't basically on top form, but okay, there's plenty of time to go. So bishop g7, and the knight did come into this lovely square. It's 2 pawns at the end of the day. 2 pawns is 2 pawns. Queen d8, and now the other knight comes into e4, and there's a lot of good squares these knights, as we suggested before. Rook c7, is that really the move that was played?
Why? Doesn't look like a move you want to play.
But hang a minute, why can't I just take the rook? Why? That's not a move. Is that really a move? Rook c7? I mean, you're putting your rook into where I can capture it.
Yeah.
Why? That's not a move. Surely that's a transmission error.
I don't think it is. We haven't had any transmission
really? We haven't had any
yet.
Okay, well, why can't David just go, thank you very much, I'll take that one. You're a very kind person. I will take your pieces. I mean, I don't know, maybe he didn't want to get rid of his strong knight. Maybe he thought my position is so good, I'm not even going to do that. So he went queen a3, getting the queen a little bit out of Dodge City there, and now rook b7, and now the queen came in here. This is going to be over soon, I feel. Bishop here, knight f6 check, king g7, and now queen d5. And as well as being 2 pawns up, there's, I mean, awful problems for black on d. It's game over. It's as simple as that. It's just game over. Hopefully we can get David to join us in the commentary room.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We didn't have many guests yesterday, but today we will make an effort to try to get some more players. It'd be lovely to get David Howe, so-called Prince Charming, in to join us. So yeah.
So we're going to now take another quick break, and then we will be back with the action from the top boards. Meanwhile, if you want to get in touch with us, a reminder, use hashtag IOMChess and or write to us in the chat on chess.com/TV. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Chess.com is about playing. At any moment, there are thousands of people from around the world playing on Chess.com. So whether you're a total beginner or a grandmaster, you'll find a game quickly with someone at your level. You can play at any pace, from 1-minute bullet to 5-minute blitz to 60-minute games. Or you can play more relaxed games where you have several days to make your move. There are tournaments starting every few minutes, or you can play against our customizable coaching computer. Chess.com is for learning. Chess isn't just about playing, it's about getting better. Chess.com puts the best training tools at your fingertips. Sharpen your game with over 50,000 tactics puzzles. Improve your strategy with training videos by top grandmasters. Get instant feedback after your games with real-time computer analysis. Regardless of where you're at now, you can take your game to the next level. Chess.com is for sharing. Join the community where you can discuss chess ideas in the forums and follow the latest chess news. Or join a club with friends and play in a league against other clubs. You can find all this in your browser at home and at work, or on the go with your phone or tablet. Signing up is free and easy. So what are you waiting for? Enjoy your game.
yeah, it's a real honour to have a good friend and one of England's top players, David Howell, join us in the commentary room. So yeah, great, good to see you, Dave.
Yeah, you too, Simon. How's it going?
It's going all right, David. Yeah, all pretty good. And you had a nice win today, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a change. Slightly quicker game than I'm used to, but yeah. I mean, I had a tough day yesterday, so it's nice to kind of get back in the zone.
Sure. And now you're back in the mix, and
we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I haven't really been following what's been going on today, but hopefully they'll drop a few points at the top.
Yeah. It looks like there's lots of exciting games, so we'll maybe get your opinion on some of those games in a minute.
Course,
I mean, first of all, do you want to just show us the end maybe of your game, because we picked it up here, and obviously it looked like you were kind of cruising at this moment, to be honest. But so shall I hand you the mouse, and you can just go through your thoughts here at the end. So,
I mean, a few moves ago, I didn't really need to play this Queen A3 manoeuvre. I could actually hear this. I mean, there's some nice tactic I can. Sorry, just to go back a bit. I can play, and then I can take on D7. Queen takes and knight C5, and I think this is winning. I mean, I didn't really want to calculate too much after Queen C7, but then at the very least I have this, and Rook C8. She might win back a piece, but I'm 2 pawns up. I mean, something like this, and I mean, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, I don't know, I haven't really won many nice games lately, so I tried to go for something a bit more flashy with Queen A3.
Bit of glory.
Bit of glory. I saw some
yeah.
potential queen sacrifices, and I was hoping that one of them would work.
Okay.
I mean, knight f6 is just such a big threat here.
Yep.
Bishop f8. Okay, knight check. And I mean, yeah, if king h8, then I was tempted. I mean, queen d5. Queen d5 here also wins because f7's on pre. But I was slightly tempted to play queen takes d7 and.
Okay. Going for some
glory. For glory, but again, it's not that clear, unfortunately. Queen b6, rook takes, bishop g7, and white's probably still doing well, but I mean, I'm still material up, but still, at least it's some work to be done.
Bit more murky.
A bit more murky, yeah. So in the game, I mean, queen d5. The problem is black can't really move. If the bishop moves, then the c6 will be dropping, and knight takes d7 is coming. So there are quite a few discovered checks in this position. I was tempted to go queen c3 as well, just to leave the discovery for next move. Right. I think wins after something like bishop b4. Then I can go knight e8 or knight h5 check and double check. And
your
queen comes in, and it's going to be game over. But I saw something a bit more flashy with knight e8 check. I mean, it's not every day that a knight ends up
on e8.
On e8.
And the other one comes in.
The other one comes in, and then I mean, this it's not the most exciting way to finish a game, but bishop takes c6, and it's
very simple.
Too much material. So I mean, I was quite lucky. I looked at this line about 6 months ago, and I managed to remember some stuff, and I don't think she's seen it before. So
good stuff. The opening line, yeah. So nice victory. Well. It was good stuff, and you played obviously the Isle of Man before. I can remember, was it last year or the year before? You nearly won the competition.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years I've played. Last year I did okay, but nothing spectacular. I think I got half a point off the winners, but a lot of draws. Then the year before, so 2 years ago, I did pretty well. I mean, I was stopped in the last round by Nigel. But
Nigel just stopped you in the tracks.
I was on a bit of a streak at that point, and I wanted to keep pressing, but fired a bit. But I mean, I love playing here, and it's been kind to me so far the last couple of years. So.
That's good stuff. And you beat MVL, didn't you, 2 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, I beat MVL, and Nikki as well.
And Nikki as well. Wow.
Yeah, I think I was quite lucky. I mean, I had white in both those games, and I was quite lucky that they both tried to beat me, and I managed to get some small edge in both of them, and eventually, eventually nursed them to victories. But that was a long time ago, and. It was probably my 2 best wins in the last few years.
I don't believe that, David.
Need to get a few more like that.
You can be back, you'd be back. But you're one of the few players, I think, who's done university as well. So you took time off to do university. You've got a good degree, and most of these players have just been playing through those years. So you've got like 4 years to catch up on that.
No, sure, I know. So making up for lost time. But I mean, in a way, I'm a bit jealous, and I do wonder what would have happened if I just played chess.
Sure. But, you can do that now, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
so good, and of course, it's good to be here, and you're trying to make a career from chess, I guess, at the moment.
For now, yeah.
How are you finding that?
No comment. It's stressful. I mean, the chess environment is. I mean, the chess world is high pressure, high intensity. So
definitely. I mean, you make one mistake, and it's like tear-jerking, isn't it?
Exactly. Really? So you feel like you've wasted years of hard work, just one bad game. So.
Of course, and I mean, I think people at home who don't play in competition don't realise just how stressful it can be. You know, we all know it, and it can really, like a bad loss is one of the worst feelings in the world.
Exactly,
isn't it?
exactly.
It really is. And there was talk yesterday, Dave, of you going for a swim before the game today. Did that never came to fruition?
No.
Do you think you're going to go for a swim when it's cold as sea?
I will before the end. That's a guarantee.
Okay.
I promise here.
Okay. So if you're a David Howe fan, get to the beach.
Yeah. I mean, it might be my last thing I ever do. But I'll give it a go.
Well, let's hope not. You're not going to swim to Ireland or something, are you?
No.
Okay. Well, that'd be good. Hopefully, get some pictures of that, Dave. So,
sure. Yeah.
And you've been a bit ill, you were saying as well.
Yeah,
so
I mean, yesterday I wasn't feeling myself really, but then today really hit me just this morning. I mean, I've been sleeping quite badly, and then I woke up with a splitting headache. So we won't hold you too long, because you probably want to go and get some rest. Yeah. But maybe we can ask you very quickly just about some of the games. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see what's happening.
Cool, get your opinion on them. So. Apart from yourself, David, who do you think is going to win this competition? If you had to pick one player, that's a really tough question.
That is
so
tough.
Have you got one guy you think would be like?
I thought Naka before the event, and I still kind of feel. I mean, okay, yesterday he had not the most exciting game in the world, and he's been held to a couple of draws, but I still feel he's the favourite. I mean, they'll be beating each other up, and he's kind of he's good in these winner takes all situations.
Sure. Well, let's go over to his game now. So we can go straight there, and he's playing against Benjamin Bock.
Oh, wow.
And indeed. What the hell's going on here?
At the deep end here.
I know, yeah, definitely. I mean, the last position we looked at was after around this point here, David, and we were kind of saying it was just crazy position.
Yeah. And
we'll go through the moves quickly. So Rook G1.
Yeah. I mean, around here I saw it briefly. I quite liked Naka's position. I thought, okay, if he can get knight A3, knight C4, then I mean, long term black's
get these two moves, and now he's pushing that knight on F6 away. Yeah, I guess. But so
knight G4. Yeah, I mean, I guess black has to try something.
Wow, look at this move, knight G4.
Knight G4. Wow.
I don't know much about Benjamin Bock. He's a great player, obviously from Netherlands, and he won the London Classic sort of events, didn't he? So he's talented. I mean, but
I've only played him once, but he's struck me as very, very well prepared. He works hard. He's quite an aggressive player when he gets a chance.
Sure.
So which we can see with knight G4.
Definitely, this is kind of move right up his street. And I guess the point is that if he takes this one, do you take it just with the pawn here, something simple,
or maybe F3?
F3. Okay, so potentially F3 hitting that bishop, and let's say I don't know, bishop D1 for example,
and then take on G4 with something.
Something indeed.
Maybe even the bishop.
Maybe even the bishop. And ideas are going F2 and bishop F3. I like it.
Or even just something boring like bishop H3, bishop G2.
Yeah, there's a nice sort of idea here of bishop C2. We've got to try to create something.
Yeah. You'd be pumping that one out.
You know me and the Freddie pawn. So and now F2, and there's a queen there. Thank you very much. And then you go check, rook here. This is just the kind of thing Hikaru will fall into, isn't it? You know, just the kind of thing. Of course, got to get a rook. Just a little bit of class.
I mean that's. I guess that's what black had in mind, something like this. But
sure. Okay. Well, let's get to current position. So knight E4, natural move. Bishop F5, pressurising that one. The knight comes into F6, and now
black found a way to sacrifice something else.
More. This is great stuff. Rook takes F6.
Wow.
So pawn takes, bishop takes F6. This is just, can we say mental? I think just mental. Brilliant stuff. Look at all those pieces.
I have no idea what's happening here.
I know. And of course you can't take the knight now because bishop E4 is going to be curtains.
Yeah. And you can't take the bishop on F6 because knight F2.
Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, that's a nice little touch. So a knight F2 checkmate. Wow.
Naka seemed quite cool though on the camera. I mean, he was adjusting his shoes a minute ago. So I mean, I'm sure he's calculated this out.
And Benjamin's only got 10 minutes left. So how cool do you think he is? I mean, it's just
I wouldn't be, but I mean, maybe bishop E1 or something. I mean, white still takes a long time to consolidate. Yeah,
crazy position. So let's try, because the bishop is looking like it's on pre. So
I mean, maybe queen E1 as well is the other move he's thinking about.
Queen E1 or bits, one of the pieces to E1. Which one should we go for? Queen maybe.
Queen maybe. Yeah.
Go queen E1. And does Benjamin have some?
Everything's pinned or.
Can we even go bishop E4 here? Oh, that's the kind of move we want to play, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe then white will. Bishop
knight D2.
Knight D2. Maybe then you just take on D5 and.
Yeah.
ask white what he's going to... then h3 or something with white and just
sit there.
I don't know.
Well, should we have a look? I mean, it
sure.
might not be the best move, but it's certainly one of the flashiest one. Putting yourself in a fork there, and the idea is if they take, then queen takes, rook here, something like f3 should be doing the business, maybe. I don't know even here. I don't know.
Bishop takes f3.
Bishop takes f3. Oh, yeah, because you've got that crafty one.
Because everything's just about defended.
Defended. Wow. I mean, I've no idea.
I mean, Black's still got compensation after queen takes f3. Maybe knight d2, queen takes d5.
Queen takes d5, goes on. And the game goes on even here.
Oh wait, actually, bishop takes f6.
Bishop takes f6 because of the pin.
Maybe bishop. I don't know.
It's completely crazy, isn't it? Because even knight d3, or I don't know, even knight d3 into f2 and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it just gets madder. I mean, this is probably not working, but God knows what's happening there. I mean, an absolute mess. So this is a brilliant game, this one, isn't it? Bishop f6 and, I mean, queen e1. I mean, what other ideas do we have here, David? Is bishop e4 the main idea? You can see fascinate with the position, and I expect this is the kind of thing you want when you're playing Hikaru. You want something a bit spicy.
In a way, although he tends to be pretty good at these positions. I mean, he's good at all positions, but
What's he got? He's gone queen. He plays something else. So let's have a look. So he
just knight c3.
He just calmly went knight c3. Okay.
To try and cover the e4 square, I guess.
Okay. So the obvious question is,
he's a braver man than me.
He's certainly a brave man, isn't he? I mean, bishop takes h4 is being played, and again you've got a threat of knight f2 checkmate. So
wow, just rook a f1.
Rook a f1.
I mean, this
is insane, and you've got
just so cool.
I know, cool as anything. But you've got two minor pieces for the rook here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose he's going to try and maybe take on f4. Oh God, I need your help here.
I mean, even if Black were to play something like bishop g5, I mean.
Yeah,
just to be solid.
Guard that one. Because you're not worried about white taking here, really, I'm assuming.
I guess white probably should.
Okay.
I don't know.
Then maybe you can take back threatening f3, and I mean, it's a fascinating position, absolutely fascinating. But Hikaru, like you said, is great in these positions, so anything's kind of possible. But
sure,
I think we will keep an eye on that one. And
no, exactly. I mean, I would have thought. I mean, if you just showed me this position, I would have thought he's. Black on the
He's black,
like King's Indian maybe.
Exactly. He's just duffing
throwing
up
everything.
Duffing up some
throwing
super
rooks at Gelfand or throwing.
Yeah, exactly. He had some great games. I mean, people should check out his games. Hikaru against Gelfand in the King's Indian defence. Actually, on chess.com, if you're a premium member, I've done some videos there, so you can check them out. Gonna have a little plug now again. There you did, thanks. I gave you the script beforehand. You did well there. Okay, well let's go to another game if you don't mind. If you're okay.
We'll come back to this. It's exciting.
Sure. And let's go to Jordan van Forest, who is playing a great tournament so far. The current Dutch champion, a very young player, and he's playing kind of the legendary Peter Leko. So Leko. I can get this right because I get told off.
I have no idea.
We've got the boss over there. Look, keeping an eye on my pronunciation. The pronunciation boss is looking at me.
Pronunciation.
Okay. Well, we'll go through it from where we had, because we had bishop c. You see this move? He went bishop c1, but a suggestion from the audience, and actually we've been told by someone.
Knight takes h5.
Oh, David, look at that.
I mean,
David, immediately.
It's the first move I would look at. I don't know if it works.
It takes David a split second to find it. That's why he's going to be world champion one day.
No chance.
But yeah,
maybe Jordan. I think I'm a bit too old now.
And Jordan could actually become world champion. I know the guy's good, isn't he?
I played for the same Dutch team as him a few years back, and they were saying, he's going to be the next big thing. Keep an eye on him. And then he's gained 300 points in the last 3 years or 4 years.
Well, if he keeps going at that rate, he'll be 4,000 by the time he dies, probably. So, but anyway, knight h5 followed by rook a3. Was actually looking very dangerous, apparently. But again,
when I was thinking rook e3, but I forgot rook a3.
Same idea, swinging across.
Stronger,
But apparently, bishop c1, very sort of nice move anyway. And we get up to date with the position. Loads going on. Knight e5, bishop a2, tucking that away. The black king looking quite exposed.
Yeah, sure.
Knight f6, worth a pawn. This definitely now. I mean, I had my doubts earlier. don't know why I had my doubts. This kind of position, and now the queen sneaks its way in. I mean, was knight f6 correct? I don't know.
Knight f6 looks odd. I thought he would want to block with something on g5. For a while at least.
Maybe try to get c6, d5. I don't know. I mean, eventually
rook c8 and then queen g5. I don't know.
It
looks slow. I actually lost a game in this exact line as black in about 25 moves.
Really?
A few months back. So I mean, I know how dangerous it is. I mean, my king was also on. I don't know, f6 or something in the end.
Okay, so this is quite a dangerous line to play then, this one. Okay, I mean,
I think black's okay in quite a few ways, but you've got to be very careful. Very well prepared.
Sure. So let's have a look. So queen d2 check, and now that queen gets into the position, rook g8, and it just sneaks to h4, and it's just a threat of demolishing the king side here. So, if you have to make a move like this, things are bad, aren't they? That is like I don't like it. I don't like it anymore.
He must have missed this queen back to h4. Quiet move.
You must have. And let's queen h5 check. So you got your pawn back, and now a lovely move here. I mean, this is a typical space clearance move, isn't it? F6. You're clearing the square for the knight.
That's
nice. It's nice. So the queen comes to f6. And now, you're not even sacrificing actually. So
if you compare all of White's pieces as well to all of Black's, I mean, it's
you're right. All of White's pieces are beautiful, aren't they? King f8, and now it's
feels winning somehow.
It should be winning, shouldn't it? I mean, definitely, I agree. I mean, it's you still have to break through somehow, but I mean, you can maybe even take another pawn. I don't know, go queen f5 and play an ending if you.
I mean, even queen f5 must be
queen f5 if
very
you
strong.
Because actually, if the queens are ever exchanged, it's equal material, but black's position is just dropping, and there's all of White's pieces still here. You don't need the queen to win this one, do you?
No, sure.
That's going to be a bit of an upset then, I think. So you're doing the job there.
Piece is so solid. I mean, any victory against him
is impressive.
Bit of news.
Yeah, he's got a reputation as being a draw master. So this is kind of great news for Jan. Van Forest. And what other tournaments are you playing, David? Have you got anything else lined up?
Actually, in a couple of weeks, I'll be playing with you, Simon.
Oh, yes, you will be.
European Club Cup. And Fiona.
And Fiona, our captain.
Our team captain.
Our captain.
She keeps us in check.
She does. She's like the boss, basically. She's like, no.
She forces us to prepare 6 hours every day.
Yeah, exactly. You can only have half a glass of wine each at night, no more. And you have to eat salads every day, so for brain food, and make sure you have your fish. Does that sound like Fiona? No, we're only joking.
No, I mean, that'll be exciting. There's a lot of strong teams. It's in Serbia this year, and I mean, there's some teams with an average of 2,700, so we're
crazy.
We're up against it, but we'll try and
definitely
be upsets.
I'm looking forward to that. So it's actually only in a couple of weeks as well.
Only a couple of weeks after this finishes.
God, and I'm going to have to play some chess there. I don't know how that's
perfect preparation for you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll see. So it's going to be interesting. And we actually did a stream together, didn't we, at one point?
We did, that was a lot of fun. We played some games on chess.com and against each other, and we played Hand and Brain and
stuff like this. You got another one. I mean, maybe could mention very briefly with Fiona coming up. What if anyone's online? Just mention that if you like David's style. David and Fiona are going to do a stream. Everyone likes David's style, How can you not like David's style?
I didn't do my hair today. I didn't do
my. David, you
do my makeup.
You look charming always, anyway.
Oh, thanks.
So And what day do you plan to do that stream? Very quickly. Any idea? Just so people get.
On Tuesday the 8th.
Tuesday the We'll let Fiona say
the 18th.
Tuesday the 18th.
So we're planning maybe a long stream, maybe even 12 hours, 24, maybe 24 hours to raise some money for this European Club Cup adventure. I mean, we're all playing for free. We just want to get some expenses so that we're not out of pocket. And any support for Team Cheddleton would be greatly appreciated.
It certainly would. And we actually give some back. I mean, you can go to our GoFundMe page, which Fiona has set up. I'm sure she'll give a link on the chat now to that. And you can actually, if you put some money in, you do get stuff back. So you can get a date with David Howell if you put £1,000 in, which I know a lot of people will be. And Fiona is £50 for a date. So no, only joking. But you can go to GoFundMe and you get signatures, pictures, stuff like that if you're interested. But
we can play some games on chess.com and
you can find us on chess.com as well. Okay, well let's go over to maybe one more game if you're happy with that. And this is we haven't seen much of this game, so this is Ilyanov, who is on board something or other.
Board 2, I think.
Board 2. So he's up there leading. and just got to find his name now. And
yeah, I mean, I really liked his opening. I mean, it looked like Nidic was surprised. He was very low on time.
Right.
But
this was the French defence, actually, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember now. So, here we go. So, and I would say, rather than go through all the moves now, let's just go to the current position and see what's happening here. And, well, as we can say, Pavel is you are. I know you are.
Man, I like my in-game.
No, you're a very good in-game player. So, how do you rate Ilyanov's winning chances? He is a pawn up, 1 pawn up.
Yes.
Is this going to be good enough in your eyes to win this? Big question for you there.
Tough. I mean, at first glance, I would say his winning chances are probably slimmer than Nidic's drawing chances.
Okay.
I mean, it's just very difficult to untangle on the queen side. I mean, if we could magically put that pawn on c2 onto b2, then at least everything would be protected and White's rook would be able to get active.
Yeah.
I think his best winning chance at the moment is probably to give up one of the queenside pawns at some stage.
Yeah.
So maybe he can play king e3, g3, f4, and then eventually go rook d3 and rook d5 or something. But I mean, it feels like Black's counterplay is going to be
just about good enough.
Yeah. I mean, Nidic's only problem potentially is that he might have to keep his rook on a4, and he might get short of moves, so he might just have to wait for a while and hope that White can't make any progress.
Yeah. So still pretty good winning chance, and Ilyanov is a very good in-game player. He's a real good grinder. So
he loves positions where there's no risk. I mean, he plays these Catalans and things where, I mean, he's the one pushing for 2 results.
Yeah. So it's a 2-result game, either a win for Ilyanov or maybe if Nidic can keep defending a draw there. So going to be a tough game. And just before you go, David, because I'll let you go, again, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here, of course.
It's been fun being here.
So cheers, and hopefully we'll get you back again when you've won some serious prize money, hopefully first. And you can buy me a bottle of wine as well. Deal?
I'll buy you 10 if
10 bottles of wine, yeah. So what do you
I mean, it's the chances are next to nil, I think.
Sorry, is your
my pick to win the tournament?
Yes, he was. Actually, Fiona did pick David to win the tournament.
Misguided faith.
Very, very nice of Fiona, and I got a great chance still, I think. I know you need to run now, but anything's possible, so we do wish you the best of luck. But just before you go, very interesting, I don't know if you heard about this, but we thought we'd just let you know, maybe people who tuned in now, there's a funny story about Shirov, because of course he had a bye today.
Yeah, I only realised today when we got to the game. I haven't heard why.
So, do you know the reason why? Okay, I'll tell everyone in case they're tuning, because this sounds like a fib to me.
Okay.
But we heard that Shirov, his restaurant that he ate in the day before, so I can eat somewhere else. And apparently that's his reason he gave to the arbiter. So he had a bye after he won, so he could go and eat somewhere else. And now, of course, today he's going to eat in his normal restaurant. He's got a game tomorrow. So last night he went somewhere else.
27.
Fiona was going to come upon putting you on the spot there. So hopefully we get you back again at some point. So
sure, yeah.
Okay, we'll just change around now with Fiona, and we'll be back again very shortly. So stay with us.
So welcome back everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. Very nice to get David's insight, but we're now going to dive straight back into the action because we're nearing the time control. Players are getting short on time and we have some extremely exciting games today. So let's go straight back to Hikaru Nakamura, who seems to be in quite some trouble against Benjamin Bock.
He does indeed. I mean, this is a real one for the books because Hikaru with the white pieces here. These Dutch guys, where do they, how do they get so good? Peter, our producer, best producer in the world. I mean, he might know the secret. We're going to have to get him off it later. But
we might have to get Benjamin if he wins this game, actually.
Certainly. This is going to be a massive coup because it looked. We just looked at this with David, and it looked like Benjamin had been really playing so inventive. He deserves something out of this game just for the fact that he's thrown every piece at Naka's king. And like David said, this is like Naka does as black, isn't it? This could easily be Nakamura's black.
And I was very surprised because I was listening to you guys, and David pointed out that on camera Hikaru was looking quite relaxed, but
you didn't think so?
No, I agreed, but I wondered why, because even now he doesn't look as worried as he should, I guess.
He's probably pooping
because he's usually
inside.
we talked about what an expressive player Hikaru is. Like, you can usually tell from his face, but we mentioned like these guys are not used to facing players who are rated, let's say, below 26.
I should have played that a lot earlier. Of course, it's too late now. Bishop h6 was played, just sidestepping that one, keeping hold of this, and now he takes on g4. That seems very strange to me because surely you want this pawn to stop.
So welcome back everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. Very nice to get David's insight, but we're now going to dive straight back into the action because we're nearing the time control. Players are getting short on time and we have some extremely exciting games today. So let's go straight back to Hikaru Nakamura, who seems to be in quite some trouble against Benjamin Bock.
He does indeed. I mean, this is a real one for the books because Hikaru with the white pieces here. These Dutch guys, where do they, how do they get so good? Peter, our producer, best producer in the world. I mean, he might know the secret. We're going to have to get him off it later. But
we might have to get Benjamin if he wins this game, actually.
Certainly. This is going to be a massive coup because it looked. We just looked at this with David, and it looked like Benjamin had been really playing so inventive. He deserves something out of this game just for the fact that he's thrown every piece at Naka's king. And like David said, this is like Naka does as black, isn't it? This could easily be Nakamura's black.
And I was very surprised because I was listening to you guys, and David pointed out that on camera Hikaru was looking quite relaxed, but
you didn't think so?
No, I agreed, but I wondered why, because even now he doesn't look as worried as he should, I guess.
He's probably pooping
because he's usually
inside.
we talked about what an expressive player Hikaru is. Like, you can usually tell from his face, but we mentioned like these guys are not used to facing players who are rated, let's say, below 26.
I should have played that a lot earlier. Of course, it's too late now. Bishop h6 was played, just sidestepping that one, keeping hold of this, and now he takes on g4. That seems very strange to me because surely you want this pawn to stop.
Rated, let's say, below 26.
I should have played that a lot earlier. Of course, it's too late now. Bishop h6 was played, just sidestepping that one, keeping hold of this, and now he takes on g4. That seems very strange to me because surely you want this pawn to stop.
Rated, let's say, below 26.
I should have played that a lot earlier. Of course, it's too late now. Bishop h6 was played, just sidestepping that one, keeping hold of this, and now he takes on g4. That seems very